It's tough, it stands to unite. Miami stands to fight. Lights burn bright. From the water they rise, fins cut the air. Storming fields.
Good evening, Dolphin fans. It's victory evening for the Miami Dolphins. The Dolphins defeat the Buccaneers 20-17. Quinn Ewers with 2 touchdowns, 172 yards. Achin with 83 yards. How about Theo Reese having that big play in the first half? I have an all-star panel here tonight. Of course, the one and only Finn Stanza, joined by Brett Lagasse and Greg Maney, co-host, the hosts of Overtime here, which air every season, every quarter. They have one episode a quarter every 3 months, but they're all here tonight. So we'll have
we had a show last Saturday night. We kept it going Saturday night, and we're going to keep going. We're not done yet. Now that, because trust me, off season, we have a lot more to talk about in the off season than we did regular season. That's for sure.
But either way, I think everybody had predicted a loss for today, and the Dolphins surprised us and gave us a win. Right now, Miami currently, with this victory and the way things have played out, currently have the 12th overall pick in round 1. For those keeping score, keeping track, not that it matters. We'll let the season play out. Because the way I feel, I think Brett and I have been on that thought process before. It doesn't matter what pick you have; you just have to make the right pick. I know a lot of people, I want that top 5 pick. You could have the top 5 pick. You can still trash it. We've done it before. We've had a 5th pick and we trashed it. So I'm okay with whatever position we have. But for those keeping score, we are currently at the 12th spot. But again, Miami winning 20-17. And we'll go around, just say hello to the fellas and their quick game reaction before we get deep dive into the game. Evan will go last because I heard him in the pre-show, and he's going to go for an hour. So we'll start with Greg. Greg, sir, Merry Christmas. How are you, sir? And your quick game reaction.
Merry Christmas. Nice talking to you again, Bobby. It's been a little bit.
Yes, sir.
But Merry Christmas to everybody out there who's listening as well. Happy New Year. You know what? It was a fun game to watch. For me, the defense stepped up and made plays when it had to make plays. I mean, Baker Mayfield still threw for over 300 yards, but for the most part, they contained the running game and they limited the points. They had a couple turnovers. Special teams played pretty well, and Ewers didn't do. Ewers played a solid game, but what I really liked about it is he made some big boy NFL throws. That first touchdown was a big boy NFL hole throw, okay? And it's not something that we've seen for a little while with Tua. Tua struggles making those type of throws. And with, Ewers has an NFL arm. He made an NFL throw. I think there is something to work with. And that's what that's what I've seen over the last couple of weeks, is basically Ewers has some tools that you can work with in the NFL.
I love it. I love that. I love the vibe we got going in here. Hopefully that stays a positive, good vibe as we celebrate a Dolphins win. Hopefully that vibe continues. Hint, 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 hint. Canadian in the corner. Brett, my brother, it's been a little bit, my man. Merry Christmas to you. Always good to see your face. How are you and your quick game reaction?
Merry Christmas, you guys. I'm good. I was actually surprised we won this game, to be honest with you. I actually was thinking it was going to be another lopsided loss, but I also thought that because last week and this week, like I was telling you guys, I saw a lot of youth, a lot of younger guys getting a lot of playing time. And so like I was saying, it's not an impressive win, but it was a good win. And I think they got some evaluations. I think some young guys stepped up. Jason Marshall stepped up. I really like what I've seen out of him this year in spurts. I think there's some development there. I think it's pretty typical Dolphin stuff. Like we see day 3 guys and undrafted guys kind of like start molding into the roster a little bit and be like guys that are good fits for like special teams and depth. And Malik Washington, I thought was kind of an unsung hero, especially on special teams with the big return and a couple of big plays on offense. I thought that that Quinn Ewers showed some flashes again. His confidence in his arm angles. He's got that baseball approach when he throws. He's always been a confident kid. I mean, this kid was highly recruited out of high school, and they took him. He was going to go to Ohio State bypass his senior year in high school to prepare. So like the only thing about Quinn Ewers I didn't like was that he came out early. I thought he should have stayed another year. I thought he would have been, maybe transferred and kind of showed what he could do and then get drafted higher. But I do think there's some development, and like I keep saying, I think there's at least potential for him to be at the minimum to be like a good solid backup in this system or a similar system at worst. You know what I mean? So feel like there's something to work with, and I feel like they're doing a good job. I feel like this week, last week, we got a good look at like some guys for next year, so we know kind of going into next year what we have, whether it's the staff we have now or somebody else. But I do like a little bit of the resolve of some of the young players. I think some guys showed themselves, they're probably not here for the future, but I thought the young guys, especially Biggers and Phillips, I thought they did a good job today. So I thought overall it's a good team win. All three phases played decent. Second half, I feel like the defense came up with some big plays, and that was nice to see.
100%. I love it. I love it. Let's see if this positive vibe continues. This is great. 2 out of 3. Let's keep it up. Well, actually, 3 out of 4, because I'm positive, brother. We won. I love the fight we showed. Let's see if it's 4 out of 4. Finstanza, sir, I already said Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah. We got through all that already. Your quick game reaction. God help us, we'll be gone for an hour. And then mute my mic.
Overall, the first half went exactly as I anticipated. Quinn Ewers threw an out, which I have not seen a quarterback on the Dolphins throw in a couple of years. It was actually nice to see. I like the way that Quinn Ewers stands in the pockets, not afraid to get hit. There was a play where he was almost going to get sacked, but he still got the ball out to Greg Dulcich. By the way, guys, you like that throw, Greg? The one he threw to Dulcich for the touchdown was an excellent throw. That was a quarterback throw as well. I think that was his best throw of the game, actually, because that was in a tight window. Overall, Quinn Ewers impressed me in the first half. I think they misutilized him in the second, but overall his performance was great. I really do believe that this is a game that Tampa had to have to not make next week's game such a crapshoot. But luckily for them, Seattle beat the Panthers, so that's going to be an interesting game. Obviously, that's going to be 2 important games next week that will actually have division ramifications for the Ravens and the Steelers. By the way, Bobby, I told you about the Steelers. I told you they would blow chunks in Cleveland. I told you could be careful with these divisional games. And Aaron Rodgers and Mike Tomlin pooped the bed there. But no, overall, Zeke Biggers has developed very well over the course of the season for a 7th-round pick. Jason Marshall playing on the outside, not being forced to play nickel, was very impressive. I like the way that I like the Ashton Davis. I like the fight of Jack Jones. The man never gives up, even when he misplays and there's a busted coverage. He never gives up. Rasul Douglas has been as advertised. Mike Evans was really not a factor except when you threw the ball about 10 feet in the air like he was Darren Waller. Outside of that, overall, I was impressed by the rookie class that got drafted. But the most impressive for me at all, if you really think about it, were our running backs, because they going against the seventh in terms of where they were utilized. I think they were misutilized, and I think that the running game was overused today, but especially in the second half. But I didn't expect these 2 guys to be able to break tackles the way that they do. A lot of their plays, a lot of their extended runs were not where they had a sea of an open sea. They had to break tackles. They had to make people miss. So I was very impressed by Jalen Wright today. Devon Achane, just his ability to break tackles for a small guy was impressive. Patrick Paul was okay. Savania was okay. I think Andrew Meyer for an first game played well. The right side wasn't talked about today, so I guess they pretty much did their job. Riley Patterson, I think, has basically taken Jason Sanders' job from him because he'll be cheaper than Jason Sanders. I think he's done an excellent job so far this year. So overall, it's a good team victory. I would have preferred it to be 20-10 versus 20-17. I think someone fell asleep at the wheel in the fourth quarter. But overall, it's a team win. The only negative factor for the entire course of the game, and I will say this, the only negative times we're having to look at Mike McDaniel and Tua. I don't understand why the broadcasts need us to see these 2 boneheads on the sidelines on a regular basis? Can we focus on Quinn Ewers, Devon Achan, and the people who are actually doing well in the game? I don't need to see the two guys who have destroyed this franchise on a regular basis on my television screen. See, a game was positive. The view, and by the way, I have a buddy who was at the game, guys. He said the atmosphere was good in the stadium, but I'm telling you, for a snowbird game, unlike the Green Bay Packer game and in the past and other games where they've had games around like the snowbird time, there was too many empty seats in that stadium. Like I don't remember the last time I saw that stadium completely full, and that's just a testament to the performance on the overall of the franchise. Like. You go watch all these other teams that are winning, and you can't find an empty seat in Buffalo. Can't find an empty seat in Green Bay. You can't find an empty seat in SoFi. That's the only disappointment. Every time I look up, I see more red today than I did blue. I saw aqua today.
Well, I mean, the Dolphins were 6-9. I mean, right? So, I mean, that's obvious. When you're a terrible team, it's hard to make your fans.
But that's been like that for years, Bobby.
Even when but what are we gonna do? We're gonna nitpick. We know it sucks, and no, it's a bad thing. Like that's always disappointing. It is what it is. You know what I mean? But I'll tell you what I love. What I loved that I saw from the Miami Dolphins today, fight. They showed some fight for a team that has nothing to play for. They were showing something to play for. And I will tell you, not at one point, not at any time. I don't care what the score says. It says 20-17. I see Baker Mayfield's numbers at 346, 2 touchdowns. Not at one time. This is the first time all season when I watched this game, the way they were playing, I did not think for one moment I thought Tampa Bay was going to come back. I was not scared of Tampa Bay. And not saying before the game, I picked Tampa Bay to win it. But watching this game, watching the tale of two teams there, the Buccaneers, the way they were playing, the way the Dolphins were playing, it looked like the Dolphins were playing for a division game. It looked like they were trying to chase for a playoff spot. The Dolphins defense did its job. You know, Jason Marshall with his first INT today, Ashton Davis, Bradley Chubb, for the crap that guy has gotten since we've traded for him, for the way he's performed this year, 1 forced fumble, 2 sacks. I mean, he's such a force, and of course Dotson with a sack as well. The defense did its job. Quinn Ewers, this has nothing to. When the way I'm going to say this is not a knock on Tua for those who might get their panties in a bunch about it, whatever. But what I'm going to say is this, especially the second start. We know he's a rookie. I don't have any expectations for him. I'm just going to sit back and watch him. But watching him today, he played like a veteran. You know, I love his energy. I love his the ego he has when he comes on the field. He plays, you could see that he's confident. He's not afraid to get hit. He's not afraid to throw the ball. He's putting the ball where it needs to be. If he makes a mistake, he gets right back up and gets to it. When he comes off the sideline, you can see, there's just an energy about him that I love what I'm seeing from him. And I'm not saying, oh, this guy has to be the starter. Not saying that. But I think little by little, he's earning that opportunity to have a chance to compete for that spot if he plays like that in the final game. I just loved what I saw from the rookie in his second start. I'm with you, Evan, with the running game. Achan had 83 yards, 18 carries. Jalen Wright, 56 of 5. And then those 2 touchdown passes. First off, that Theo Reese, which Greg brought up, that pass right where it needed to be. That was a big boy throw. He still had to kind of turn for it, but it was right in the breadbasket. It's not like he had to do something crying. It was right where it needed to be. Loved what I saw from the Dolphins. And I just love, again, the fight I saw from this football team. I know, and Evan, you could follow right up with what you were saying before in regards of what you would have loved to see in the second half. But honestly, how I felt in this game, I sat there watching, and not at one point did I feel like, oh, they're going to get this up. Because every time it looked like they were going to give one up, they took the ball away. Whether it was an interception, a fumble. You saw Baker Mayfield. Tristan said, is he crying? I was like, no, he's just pissed. He's not crying. But it looked like he was crying. The Dolphins defense made Baker Mayfield look like he was crying. That's what you want to see in this football team. We all know where we feel on this team. We know how we feel about the staff and what we want to happen. I'm not here to say, oh, Mike McDaniel should keep his job. Oh, so-and-so should keep their job. But that's a team that has not quit on their coach. That's a team that's playing like they're playing for something when they have nothing to play for. and then you watch you didn't mention this, but I will, because I saw two different things. You saw in the locker room, they're writing on the laundry things. What are they celebrating for? Whatever. I'd rather see that than a bunch of mopey, dopey babies in the locker room. Oh, we won. Okay. Well, we still suck. No, I want to see guys that are happy that they won. I want to see guys that are proud to be wearing a Dolphins uniform. I want to see guys that are happy that they're going to go into next week fighting, because that's the team that, guess what? More than likely, those guys are going to be here next year. I don't want no mopey dopies pissed off that they're on a shitty football team. I want guys who are fired up to win, fired up to play week after week. I see the general manager, interim general manager, he's pumped up. He's going nuts. He's fist bumping everybody. That's cool energy. Now, I don't know if those guys are going to be here next year with that front office guys, but again, that's the type of football team I want. I want guys who are going to play week in, week out, no matter how tough it gets. You may not have liked it. I absolutely loved it. That's what I want to see. You play like you're fighting for something. The floor is yours.
I want to let the two more intelligent gentlemen speak in a moment, but all to say 113 right now. I think it's now 113 to 27. Sorry, 116 to 27 in the third quarter. Something happens to the Miami Dolphins offense in the second half. Quinn Ewers at 28 yards. I don't put this on the players. I put this on the play calling design of going strictly to the run, trapping, trying to not, like, whatever happened to the running gun available. Darren Waller was a ghost today. Greg Dulcich was the one who was always used. What was happened to, they did not repeat what they were doing in the second half. They were not repeating what they did in the first half in the second half. When you see a play, like, I'm just telling you guys, like, I'm not sure, but the most frustrating play for me today was how predictable, and we were texting about it, the third down, Greg Dulcich little out where he just stood there and they were all pointing at him. And Quinn Ewers still threw it and they were in the goal line. Like, it's the missed opportunities that bother me. Like today, they had the ability, the way that the Bucs defense was playing, and they've lost 6 of their last 7. You had the ability to basically destroy their confidence and go into the second half, go and step on their throat and be up 28-7. No, we're going to keep them in the football game. That's my only frustration with Mike McDaniel. At no point was there a game where you didn't feel a team was completely out of it at a point in the football game, unless the clock hit 0. And that was my only frustration today, is the why wouldn't they keep Quinn Ewers in his groove? Why wouldn't they do the quick passes out to Achane and to Dulcich? Like, they completely forgot about what they were doing in the second half. Move your camera over, Greg, because I know Bobby just popped out for a sec. So overall, that was my only frustration. I don't know about you guys, but I overall, for me, a win is a win. Great. I like the development of the young players, but I continue to see the same mistakes. Even with the fight there, the fight was because the young players have something to play for and are playing for their jobs. By the way, why is Bradley Chubb trying so hard? And actually, that touchdown that they gave up at the end of the game can actually hurt him, is because he's playing for incentives. The guy, if they finish in a top 20 defense in scoring, he actually gets $4.3 million bonus. So the man needs the team to not allow a score. So they actually hurt him by doing that. So overall, the defense did its job. I think there was just a busted coverage, and it is what it is. But it was too close for comfort for no particular reason. Like, the Bucs did not play like a team that was fighting for their playoff lives today, and they just looked like a hot mess for the last 7-8 weeks. So for me, overall, I just was not impressed by the coaching. I'm not the players. I was not impressed by the second half coaching, which has been a consistent problem all season. It wasn't like that previous year. If they've been bad, they've been bad all game, or they blew football games. But this is something brand new, Greg and Brett. Whoever wants to go first. But overall, the overall concept of how they play in the second half is really concerning to me. And that's really, and I don't think that's personnel. I think that's just a sort of kick in the butt. So they're happy, but I feel like they won the football game in the first half, but they survived the football game. Right?
Well, I think that's just the theme of this year, that there's not a whole lot of faith in the quarterback play right now. And Ewers is a 7th-round rookie making his second start. Tua didn't play well, so in my mind, the coaching is basically saying, okay, we have a lead at halftime. Let's get conservative. Let's try to preserve that lead. Do I agree with it? No, but I can understand it. I've been on coaching staffs who have thought that way. All right. My big complaint about the coaching in the second half and the McDaniels play calling in the second half was you basically only have, 3 games to evaluate Ewers as a starter. All right. Last week, this week, and next week. There's no reason not to have him throw a little bit more. I mean, he threw 22 passes today. All right. And they ran the ball 30 times. I would like to kind of see that reversed. I just want to, I want to have the best availability to evaluate Ewers for the rest of the year as a starter. That would be my only complaint. Now, they won the game. They played hard. All right. They're playing for this coach. All right. Nobody's quit. All right. And you can watch other games and other teams this year where I think they're kind of quitting. Did you watch Las Vegas today? They
didn't try. They should be investigated for how poor they played.
They're tanking. It's pretty obvious.
Well, yeah, they got the number 1 pick, and they're probably going to get the number 1 pick.
Mhm.
All right, but I mean, there are teams that are out there that are not playing hard right now with nothing to play for, and then there are teams like the Dolphins, Cleveland, and a couple other teams that are playing, hard with nothing to play for. So I kind of give McDaniel a little bit of credit there, but I'd just like to see him throw the ball a little bit more. I'd like to see Ewers get more reps, and I got a feeling he's going to be asked to do that next week because New England is they're pretty good.
They scored.
they can put up some points, and May was damn near perfect today. I think he had
first
a
quarterback I think
rating.
ever. I think it's the first quarterback ever to go have 90% completion percentage and 5 touchdowns.
So, yeah, it's going to be
coaching matters, ladies and gentlemen. Coaching matters.
Talent matters too.
I know, but coaching and talent.
That's talent, brother. That's talent.
And come on, Bobby, you would have driven to Cleveland, picked up Mike Vrabel, gone into the building. Threw Mike McDaniel out of the building like you were Uncle Phil to Jazz.
But at the same time,
he wasn't coming to.
Exactly. So it's like I know where I stood on my Vrabel, but it's like I'm past that point. You know what I mean? I'm like looking another direction now. So, but yes, coaching does matter, but talent does too. Drake May is that good, and of course, tone setter in Mike Vrabel. But no, let me just say you're right. I think Quinn Ewers next week we may see. We may have to. The Dolphins are going to ask a little more of him. And that's going to be the true kind of litmus test for him, where, okay, how does he respond? And again, the way he played today without Jalen Waddle, who again got hurt and was out of the game, that was Theo Reese and those guys. So,
shocked.
I know. I was like, whoa, what happened? I've never seen this before. So
a guy banged up in college is banged up in the NFL, Chris Greer pick. Wow, shocked. Sorry.
Offensive minds matter. Look at that. Josh McDaniels, Sea Devil. Bubble 2K or Bubble Z3K. Platts played a dead Jets team. Not much of a challenge. Are we firing McDaniel anyway?
But the Josh McDaniel thing. All right. His offense has only worked, and his play calling has only worked when he's had really talented quarterbacks. Don't forget, he's tried to be a head coach a couple times and gone a couple different places with a couple bad quarterbacks.
He's North Turner. Turner,
and it didn't really matter
Phillips
much,
for
right?
defense.
North Turner's a good comparison because North Turner's done well with good quarterbacks.
Excellent with good quarterbacks.
Yeah.
But then he becomes a coach and boom.
Yeah.
I think.
But anyway, I'm a big fan of May. I'll just say it that way. I think he's really good.
He's a good player for sure. But let me ask you, Greg, I'm going to stay on with you for a second. Just, I know we've touched on Quinn right now, but I want to just stay on that. Everybody, no matter they love, hate, whatever, everybody understands this is a set, even though, again, he could have stayed a year, probably got drafted higher, could have got drafted higher a year before, but he decided to come out. He was a 7th round pick. He was an emergency quarterback all season. Was a backup for one game, came in at one point, but these are his 2 second starts. What have you seen from him? Have you gotten comfortable with the idea of, hey, maybe he could compete for the starting job next year? What did you see from him today that you liked? What do you see that you would like to see him get better at going into week 18?
He still processes a little slow, but that's part of being a rookie. But he seems poised, and he has the arm to make big boy throws. All right, and I think if you gave him an opportunity to compete next year, and I'm fine giving him that opportunity to compete next year with it, and you'll be able to expand the playbook and expand the route combinations and the different things that he can do because he has the arm that Tua doesn't have. So there's a possibility that this offense could expand with somebody like Ewers in there. I'm not going to say it's going to be better. I'm not saying any of that stuff. I'm just saying that if you watch him play, if you watch him process, and then you watch his arm, there are things that you can work with at the NFL level there. He's not somebody that I would say, yeah, he's definitely a bust after 2 weeks or anything like that.
Yeah.
He's shown things in the last 2 weeks that you can build on. And let's not forget, he's a 7th round rookie quarterback, right? Who has started 2 games. He wasn't even getting first team reps up until 2 weeks ago. All right. So give him an off season. Let's see him improve. Let's see the game slow down for him a little bit, and let's continue to utilize his arm. He made an opposite hash deep hole throw for a touchdown today.
Yeah.
All right, that's an impressive arm right there. And you can say it was a busted coverage. You can say a bunch of different things about it, but the throw itself was a big boy NFL type throw. And again, I'm not saying that's going to lead to him being a great quarterback, a good quarterback. He might be out of the league in 2-3 years. All right.
Exactly.
But there's something that you can work with there. And he's shown enough to at least let him compete for next year.
I love it. And again, the swag, the way he carries himself is eye catching as well. Brett, man, same question, brother.
Well, so like I agree with Greg on that one. I think Ewers is earning a chance to come in and compete next year. And the reason I'm okay with him competing next year is because you have nothing to lose. 2026, I really just I look at a quarterback like day 2, day 3, get a guy like Alar, for example. He's got a ton of talent coming off an ankle injury. Like worst that happens, doesn't work out. You still draft one at 27. Like you draft one until you hit on one. But I think Ewers at least has shown, like Greg's saying, he's shown the ability to make the NFL throws. Like what people don't understand, one of the hardest throws in the NFL to consistently make is outside the numbers, especially opposite hash, the out routes. Those are hard to hit without a good arm. And Ewers has been late on some reads. However, because of his arm, he can make up the timing of it. And that's the thing when people talk about anticipation with Tua. He had to anticipate because his arm is not strong enough and he can't be late. If he's late, that's when it's intercepted. And that's the difference you're seeing. I think the offense is moving a little bit faster. Even though it wasn't like perfect the last 2 weeks, that's why his numbers are bigger or having better yards per completion and per attempt because he's able to make different throws. And I will say the biggest thing I saw, other than like a still process is slower, which you kind of expect from a rookie, especially 7th rounder, is he's not quite getting his mechanics set up to throw consistently. That's why some of those balls that sailed, like his feet weren't quite fully under him on one of them, and he had I think he had Waddle open on a post, and he just overthrew him. So stuff like that, or is it Waller? Either way, stuff like that he can work on. But I feel like an off season, he'll be good. And then McDaniel did say in the second half he's going to start he gave him a little bit more reins to see what he could do. And he like throttled him in the first half, but then gave him some more in the second half, like more opportunities to throw. And he struggled a little bit, but it's 7th round rookie. What do you expect? And like I said about Ewers before, I wish he would have stayed one more year because I think he could have developed and shown that talent a little bit more. So this kind of was a development year for him, but you never know what he could become later on. I'm not saying for sure he'll be a franchise quarterback, but you just don't know. You don't give up on a kid who's got talent. Like Skylar showed some flashes early. I was like, you develop him. If he doesn't become anything, you move on. But the thing is, we have to be ready to move on and still draft a quarterback.
But and the other thing I'll say, what to reinforce what you said, Brett, he missed some throws today with the correct read, but bad mechanics led him to missing the throw.
Mm-hmm.
Right? You can correct the mechanics thing, but
Easy.
what I like to see is him making the correct decisions. And has he made bad decisions the first 2 weeks? Yes.
Yeah.
He's a rookie. He's seeing a lot of this stuff for the first time. But he's also making good decisions and not executing throws, which means once you get the fundamentals and the footwork and the mechanics correct, he'll start hitting those throws. And please don't take this the wrong way, all right? But this was Josh Allen his rookie year. Josh Allen was reading defenses and making the right decisions, but his mechanics were so bad he wasn't executing the throw.
Right.
Almost like the 2-point conversion today, where his mechanics were off and he missed the open throw, but he made the right decision, right? I'm not saying yours is going to be that good. Don't get me wrong, all right? I'm not saying that. But when you see a young quarterback making right decisions and not executing throws, you're saying, I can work with that. I can help improve his mechanics and his footwork to make it so that he starts hitting those throws. And if he doesn't, then you basically get rid of him, right? I mean, there's nothing here, but the decision-making process as a rookie is almost as important or more important than actual completing passes at this point.
Yeah. And there's a couple things that like you can't teach in quarterbacks, and they have to have it or they don't. It's confidence, unwavering confidence, and Carson Palmer's brother, Jordan Palmer, talked about that. Like a quarterback has to have unwavering confidence. He can't look at himself after a bad game and say, "Do I suck?" or "Man, I'm no good." He has to look at himself like, "I might have sucked today, but I need." Like Joe Burrows said that against the Steelers, he goes, "Nobody's winning the way I'm playing." He's not saying I suck, just the way I'm currently playing. I'm not playing good enough. It was a self-evaluation, not destroying himself. So you can't teach a confidence. His size is fine. His arm is more than enough in the NFL. Definitely has NFL arm, and he has arm angles and arm talent. He's also quick feet and nimble enough to maneuver. It's just the stuff you can't teach is the arm. You can't teach the mentality of how to just be confident, how to be that confident leader. And he seems like they said he was there. He's always there early watching film and studying. Like he's almost like he's obsessed. Like you can't emphasize that enough. You need those guys who you have to kick out of the film room. That you have to say, all right, go home and sleep at some point. You know, the guys you have to kick out of the facility say, go home and get some rest, spend time with your family. Like the guys that are always there. And if he's like that, that can make a huge difference. Again, not saying he's going to be a franchise quarterback, but those things you can't teach. So it's nice to see a young guy with that, and at least maybe he can become a quality starter, backup, whatever.
Evan?
Overall, Quinn Ewers, it almost looked like he didn't even look like he was stepping into stepping into. You know, when you throw like a baseball or you throw a football, you're gonna a couple weeks ago, like looked like he was putting everything he had, including everything, and he couldn't move the ball 10 yards. Like Quinn Ewers, his throw, even when he overthrew a ball or threw it into double coverage, it looked like he wasn't putting effort. He has a good NFL arm. I think he has a lot to develop in terms of a quarterback. I don't think Darrell Bevel is the right guy to teach him because look what he's done with Tua. So I'm not exactly enticed by what the knowledge of Quinn Ewers learning from Zach Wilson, Tua Tagovailoa, and Darrell Bevel. I actually think he might regress a little bit if he continues to listen to those three. But no, overall, the quarterback play, I think he has the ability to compete for next year's position. Compete. I think you should either go sign a bridge or if you find someone right in the draft. But the cool part about this season, what's already been solidified for me, is you don't have to go find your backup next year because Quinn Ewers could either potentially start for you if he continues to play well, or he'll be your backup. Like that's the cool part is you can either go draft one to be your emergency or potentially battle it with Quinn Ewers, or you can go get another quarterback and Quinn Ewers is your backup. Like last couple of years, who's going to be our backup? And by the way, we have all the cap money we're going to have issues with potentially. You're not going to have to spend a lot of money on your backup quarterback next year. There are going to be a lot of teams that are going to be clamoring for a lot of quarterbacks next year. And with all the injuries, and by the way, I'm sure you guys have all seen it this year. There's a lot of bad quarterbacks. Like, it's good. You look back now, and even though they played well for the last couple of years, I'm sure there's a particular man on this network who I'm sure who's wearing a darker version of green, who once said that Tua reminded him a little bit of Jared Goff, and the fact that Jared Goff isn't a player who's going to win much for you, and he has to be surrounded by things. But look at Jared Goff. Even he had great stats this year. Stats are stats. Wins are what matter. And this week I saw this. I'm sure you guys saw it this week. If you saw what the Vikings and Brian Flores did to the Lions, like we were texting Greg, like overall, the quarterback play has to be good. You need an elite quarterback, yes, to go elevate. But if you look at a lot of quarterbacks in this league right now, a lot of them are getting developed by right coaching, right development, and they're in the right situation. Trevor Lawrence did not look good last year. He was playing phenomenally well. Drake May, CJ Stroud's having a bounce back year. Matthew Stafford's having a good year. Look at Sam Darnold. Like, quarterback play matters. Like, that's the point. Like, if your quarterback isn't playing well, like today's game, Josh Allen lost his team the football game because he did not play well. He had 28 yards in the second half against Vic Fangio's defense. Like, he did not play well. But overall, Quinn Ewers is actually a breath of fresh air for me. Way better than Skylar Thompson ever was. And he went to a good school. He's played in big games before, and he didn't look phased. Like, I don't know if you guys saw, but like the throw where he on the play where I mentioned he almost got sacked, he didn't move. Tua would have been running backwards and would have gotten sacked 10 yards back, right? So that's what I was happy to see. I was happy that he was comfortable. And also, did you see his reaction? Like, he actually dove for the first down. He didn't slide. He dove. Why? Because when you dive, that's where the ball lands. If you slide and hit the ground, that's where you end up. So, by the way, it took him 2 games to equate to Tua Tagovailoa's 14 games to get. Tua only had 1 first down on a run all season long. Quinn Ewers did it in his second game. So, congratulations, Quinn Ewers. But it was nice to see first. Like, he. By the way, the team did not look rattled by him playing, which I like. Like, the team played for Quinn Ewers, played for the team. By the way, also, even though they were playing a little tight, they seem a little looser now. It almost like, oh my God, that's our quarterback for the last 14 games. Like, this is who we're playing with. Like, I think they like the new breath of fresh air they're getting. Like, guys, also at the podium, happen to notice, like, he has that air about him. Like, you know, like there's like a persona, like there's an aura about somebody. Like, you don't mind listening to him talk. Like, you hear Mike McDaniel, and actually Barry Jackson guy said it, like, I'm sick if I don't want anyone in the building that thinks pressures are good. You know, often Mike McDaniel talks about getting pressure, or we want sacks. We want game-changing plays, because I mentioned this guys earlier, like team needs and all this. We'll talk about after, but I'm tired. I like people who have that confidence in them. And I don't know if you notice about, like, you look at Quinn Ewers, guys. Even though it's only second start, there's an air of confidence about him. It's not cockiness, but he looks comfortable.
Yeah.
I like the aura.
Like
him.
I said,
at the podium,
Yep.
he looks. Skylar Thompson did not look like that. Tua did never look like that. Ryan Tannehill never looked like. I don't remember the last quarterback that we had on this roster who had the confidence at the podium and in the pocket like that was Ryan Fitzpatrick, who was a veteran who looked like he could didn't care if he got hit 100 times. Quinn Ewers has that a little bit of Ryan Fitzpatrick in him, where don't F with me. I'll kick you hit me, I'll kick your ass. That's what I like about him. He's a Texas guy, so he has that air about him, right? Like, that's what I like about Quinn Ewers.
Let me ask you this, Evan. I'm going to stay with you on this, and then we're going to talk about just the way this team's been fighting. What you saw from Quinn Ewers today, because remember, one of the big knocks on McDaniel for the past couple of seasons is when Tua was hurt, his quarterbacks did not play good. You know, Teddy Bridgewater, Skylar Thompson, they regressed. So now it's like, okay, let's go ahead and put Quinn Ewers. Let's see, because we said about it. We talked about this before they benched Tua. When they benched Tua, there's no turning back, because that's basically cutting the relationship off. There's no way McDaniel's ever go back to Tua. It's Zach Wilson after this, if he got to go back to change quarterbacks, which doesn't look like it's going to happen. one of your big arguments at that point when we were discussing that was, hey, they're married at the hip. There's no way McDaniel knows his job is tied to Tua. No quarterback is good with him without Tua. Tua knows how to play the system. You see Quinn Ewers last week, but more today. You saw the way he played. Where do you stand right now with McDaniel? Does that take away that whole, like, he can't coach without Tua?
No, because I believe in Brett and Greg can also reconfirm this. Because I've watched a little bit of Texas stuff, and I've watched Steve Sarkisian's offense is not that far off of Mike McDaniel's. So the way that the system is actually something that works for Quinn Ewers, and Quinn Ewers actually has more experience than Skylar Thompson and a better arm than Teddy Bridgewater. Mike White was never a good quarterback to begin with. Zach Wilson hasn't gotten any time. So I believe that Quinn Ewers is developing well because he's utilizing the quick check down if he has Devon Achane and Jalen right there, but also he utilizes his tight end. And the best security blanket for a quarterback is their tight end. And so for me, he utilized Greg Dulcich very, very well today. One point I wanted to make, guys, and I think Greg and Brett and Bobby, you know what was very apparent to me this season, and it was very much reaffirmed this year, and it's shocking to say this, we do not have a deep wide receiver room. And boy, oh boy, do we not have rely on
I said that. Didn't I say that on pregame today?
Jalen Waddle is, if you could find a taker for him, we won't miss him. I have no interest in keeping Jalen Waddle. Someone told me here he's a body catcher, makes bad passes. I think someone taught me that. I think he's down in the corner over there. He's not smiling yet, but he knows he taught me that. He won't. There he is. He won't even smile. I don't think he's
not watching. He's not paying attention.
He's not even watching. Brett. Brett.
I'm hearing you.
He is zoned out. He's looking at something else.
But honestly, guys,
or something.
Because the two, by the way, Bobby,
I'm doing a little research for the next topic.
The two gentlemen. By the way, the two gentlemen explained something to me very, very clearly over the years. And Bobby, when you draft and you get players, you go after premium positions. What are the premium positions? Corners and wide receivers. If you don't go solidify those players, why do you think Drake May's having a good year? He's having a good year because Christian Gonzalez is on one side, and Stephon Diggs has been amazing for him. He mossed it today. He was phenomenal. In Denver, Bo Nix, what does Bo Nix has? Patrick Surtain, Courtland Sutton. Like, we do not have we don't have a stock. Rasul Douglas potentially could be. Where's our number one wide receiver? No Tyreek Hill. You don't have a number one. You don't have a number two right now. We're overpaying for this guy, and I'm not impressed by the wide receiver core. And I don't like the ball distribution today. Like, it was really about Devon Achane and Greg Dulcich, but he didn't have much. Like, Quinn Ewers did a lot with very little today. He did a lot with very little today, and that was what actually impressed me.
And
today.
I think that's because of, again, the lack of weapons that you had. Again, Jalen Waddle was out half of the game.
But he's always out. I know. He is so fragile.
I know.
Going back to college, he was like this.
Well, I thought they distributed the ball pretty well, though.
Yeah.
Today, the most receptions was Greg Dulcich with 5, Achane with 3, and I said he would be ball catching. Outside of that, Greg, there was 14 receptions. 1 to Theo Weiss, that was an out. Julian Hill had a nice play because they were stuck. They got really pinned in. Cedric Wilson only had 8 yards. Malik Washington had 4 yards. That was it.
But remember, a lot of that, though, too, has to do, obviously, it's, okay, this is your main primary target, and then go and get to it's, and especially when it's a rookie guy, quarterback. I mean, we see, the thing is, we've been so used to a veteran, quote unquote, do that just because we're trying to hide the weaknesses. But with a rookie, that's actually what we're supposed to do. Hey, that's your target. If you look at that Theo Reese play, which is a little more impressive, he was eyeballing Reese the whole way down. He stared at him the whole right. Which would be easy for a corner, but he threw that ball right where it needed to be, where no corner could make a play on it. So those type of plays, like you say, distribution, that's just get to the guy who's your primary target at that position. But
I'm
again,
not blaming Mike.
Well, he targeted eight receivers. And I'm not counting the one that he ended up catching. He targeted 8 receivers, had 7 different receivers. The bulk of it went to Dulcich and Achane, but like the offense really,
Well,
but this is the offense that we've had all season long. It's not spread out.
Exactly. Only difference now is there's a
just-
rookie quarterback minus
Yeah,
then a
it's
By the way, I
just
wanna
not
test-
spread out.
I'm not blaming Mike for this. I'm blaming the talent evaluation for the lack of wide receivers.
they're
See,
both
Devil,
gone. So we're
all
good.
of us think that
All three
Mike
guys. Are gone.
McDaniel. By the way, the only reason to this year, I will say this again: Tua gone. If Mike McDaniel's still here, I think it's the wrong decision. But give him a new quarterback to develop. But if we think that Quinn Ewers and Mike McDaniel and Champ Kelly can turn this team around, we're all like, I don't know what we're smoking. On its face, it's not going to happen. Look today, they can't score more than 20 points. And I'm sorry to break it to you, Greg's taught me this: 20 points a game in the NFL is not good. This is not very good.
Again.
Greg.
But again, you
No.
see that's not fair though. But that's not fair because again, this was a 7th round, 3rd string quarterback. Hold on.
I disagree with that
Sec-
completely.
a third- a
2020.
this is a 7th round, 3rd string quarterback rookie playing and
Yeah.
a depleted offense that a team that's supposed to have nothing to play for
Yeah.
won, and a team
Yes.
that had nothing to play for.
No,
said,
great.
I don't look at this game and go, oh man, they only scored 20 points. This is trash. No, this is holy shit. I'm sorry.
They scored
Look at
17 in the
this.
first half. That's
This
my
is
point.
this
Doesn't
is like
matter.
back
A
to
win's a
what
win.
like
That's a win.
what Greg and I said against with the Steelers game. When I said I think the Steelers win, I forgot what I thought the prediction was, and Greg said he said, well, whichever team scores 20 will win that game. Will win the game. And because neither team was all that great, and it's kind of like this week, it's whichever team got to 20 won the game, and we saw the talent, we saw the but just at the end how close it got with seconds left, and then onside kick. Luckily, Etienne got it. Like it was like, oh man, this is about to happen. But we just saw the razor thin depth of this team at all premium positions, at edge, at secondary, at wide receiver. And it's like, the quarterback played well the second half. In the second half, he made plays when he had to, but honestly, that the second half definitely wasn't great. But the way the defense played really kind of changed it. The offense had 10 points off turnovers. I want to say they had 10 points off turnovers, and then one drive was like a 3 and out. But overall, though, like this team is just young. Like I've said, they're just using a lot of their youth, their backups. Like Cedric Wilson got way too much playing time. Julian Hill is still getting too much playing time.
I agree with that.
Dolchik is I like getting Dolchik more time because I think there's a future spot for him, and that's Julian Hill's spot as like number 2 tight end. And I think they just need to go ahead and find another tight end because Darren Waller, I don't know why we're not using more. I would like to see Waller come back next year, but I don't think he will. Because I think it's going to all be developing next year. But overall, the team, I know it wasn't great, but to me, you took your $50 million quarterback that was overpaid, put him on the bench, and your offense is pretty much doing the same as it was as far as scoring wise and moving the ball, and you're still having drives stalled. But you have a rookie quarterback who's making throws that he couldn't make, and an undrafted receiver making a huge play. So it's like you're starting to see, like, well, wait a minute, Ewers is doing that with nothing compared to what Tua had to work with the healthy Jalen Waddle, with the Tyreek Hill, and he started the year with the healthy Jalen Waddle and with the Tyreek Hill, and was still awful to start the year. So there really was no excuse, and he just continued to go backwards all year, where Ewers is doing well with nowhere near as much talent. And it just kind of shows you, if you have a good quarterback, and I kept saying this, with the receivers we have, a good quarterback can still move the football with said receivers. You put Josh Allen, like Josh Allen's receivers are not that good. Like his receivers are not that good. And like you put him in our offense, and the offense will be night and day difference. Run game would be different. Run game would be even better. Because he's just going to affect the run game. He's going to affect the pulling the defender out. So again, it's the effective quarterback. So, but yeah, we have thin corners. We have thin wide receiver, thin edge rush. All the premium positions are depleted and awful. And no, offensive line and defensive line are not premium positions.
And by the way,
Greg,
our biggest weakness is on the defense, Brett, and we talked about this on overtime. Dotson, who did not have a good season last year, has been great. and Jordan Brooks. Like, I never would have thought that as bad as the linebacker position was in like 2-3 years ago,
Yeah.
it's actually a strength of the defense now. They're not a problem.
Dotson's going backwards now in coverage.
Yeah.
He's been leaving guys
So
out.
Yeah.
I want to talk about, because I see some comments on McDaniel and in the comments there a little bit here and there. One says McDaniel should come back. McDaniel hasn't had his full cupboard. He's gone anyway. Is he gone anyway? So I want to ask, because I think Brett brought this up earlier. I did. The one thing that's noticeable, I'll start with Greg, and then Evan and Brett can follow up, or Greg, Brett, and Evan. But that's one thing for sure. Like, we talked about the fight of this football team. I think we're all on the train of that they should clean house no matter what goes down, get a new coach, new GM, just start. But one thing that's for sure, I think that we've all seen, and that I think we should all acknowledge, or we all can acknowledge, is that this team has not quit. They have not quit on their coach. They are playing hard. They still play maybe the benching of Tua gave them a shot of adrenaline. Like, holy, he actually did that. Maybe a lot of them did believe what most believed was, oh, there's no way he'll ever bench Tua. He's tied to Tua on the hip. He does it. And despite what the record shows, the team has played their asses off. And after the game, it's not like, okay, we won. Now it's time to go home. No, it's after the game. Hey, man, pumping shoulders, great job. Pumping, let's hit each other's chest, pump each other's back. So this is not a team that looks like they're done with their coach, despite what the fan base may believe. So, Greg, does that look like to you? Does it look like this team still believes in Mike McDaniel? Are they playing hard for him? And what would that scenario look like by this season? Do you think that's going to play a hand in possibly keeping him as the head coach?
They're still playing hard, and that is a reflection of the coach, in my opinion. All right, look, there are teams in this league right now that are not playing. They have nothing to play for. They are not playing hard. They are basically phoning it in.
Great point.
Okay, that's not happening in Miami. And I think McDaniel should keep his job? No. Do I think he will? Yeah, because I think this is what Ross is looking at. All right, they're winning games at the end. They're playing a rookie quarterback, and the team's still playing hard. And I think, one of Ross's faults is loyalty, in a way. So I think he's basically looking at this and saying, let's run it back. Let's see what's going on. We made front office changes, a lot of them, and if he is a realist in a way, he'll understand that 2026 is going to be bad. All right, that they're going to be kind of hamstrung no matter what they do. But
that was
anybody who says jabroni, I'm a fan of. So I'm good with that. Right?
That's really good, bro. I'm sorry. Keep going, Greg. I'm sorry.
No, but he's loyal. They're playing hard. 2026 is going to be a bad year anyway. So the question is do you give him 1 year? Do you see what he can do with a limited roster? And kind of play it from there. The front office has all changed. Regardless of what happens, the front office has changed. 100%. And you can make an argument to say, okay, let's run it back with a new front office and see what draft is like in 2026. Again, I wouldn't.
Right.
I think he should be gone, but I don't think that's what Miami will do.
Yeah.
Logical. Brett?
So, I've said it before, and this is not to say let's keep McDaniel and give him this position, but I've said it before, how many coaches have gone on to start their own front office and develop their own front office to set their system, and then they leave, and that system is still in place. Andy Reid with Philly. He leaves. He took over. He was VP of football operations from day one with the Eagles. He leaves. He develops a front office, trains guys as a coach for a year or two, breaks down film with them, and then has them go to the front office. So they know, okay, this is the coaching points. This is what we're looking for. Boom. They go on, and he does that in Kansas City. And then, guys, Bill Belichick did it. Then the Ravens, they developed and it's still there. They developed their guys from the top to the bottom. So it's like, this is our system. Keep moving up. It works. Sean Payton did it with the Saints. Now he's doing it with the Broncos. Could it work? Yeah, like Greg said, the front office is different now. They got rid of guys that have been here since the 90s that like didn't grow and adapt and the issues we've had. They're gone. That's something that Ross has never done. He's never fired that deep. He's just fired a GM and just kind of brought him in. Chip Kelly was brought in this year, cut his teeth with the Shanahan system.
In March.
Right. Very well could have been McDaniel bringing him in as his guy because he got tired of arguing with Greer when Greer's like, oh, no, we're going to draft my son's roommate who sucks, and then we're going to blame Vic Fangio that said, oh, Vic Fangio hates Cam Smith. No, Vic Fangio didn't like the roster. And then although after Vic Fangio's fired, Greer's like, oh, maybe he was right. We do need to fix all this. So it's like it gets tiresome where your coaches are just not being heard. Who knows the talent better? The coaches do. The coaches know what system they want to run. They know what they're looking for. They know what they want to do. Draft it. So, like, go get the guys to do it. So, would I do it? Would I keep McDaniel? No. But in theory, what could be happening is McDaniel could be basically being the de facto VP where it's like the GM works for me. The guys being hired are going to be guys that work for me. They're going to know our system. They're going to come from the McDaniel tree or the Shanahan tree, and they're going to develop our guys. This is what we're looking for. This is what we want. I'm like kind of stuck because I think McDaniel could do a really good job in the future as a head coach running the show. Like, I think he really could, but does he need to like start over, or can he? Because I'm in my head, I can't think of a coach that has got to this point that was able to turn it all around. Just can't fathom it. So it's just I don't know.
I think you guys are. I think again we're all on the same page in regards to what we think should happen. At least the three of us, because we're going to get to the guy in the left hand screen, because I could see he's kind of boiling up. So I'm just going to hammer that point home. We all agreement that the best case scenario for the team in at least we think would be, yes, clean house and just start fresh or whatever. However, when you see the team playing the way they're playing, the fight that they're doing here, the move that nobody thought he was going to do, which was bench just his starting quarterback he's supposedly married to, let the 7th round rookie play, and you see the way this rookie's been playing, you see the way these guys continue to play hard for him. You know, can I see a scenario in which Miami brings back McDaniel with a whole new front office, which is already the case because they fired not just the general manager, like you said, they've gone deeper. They got the two guys out, Engroff and Anthony Hunt, which was C-Devil brought in the comments. Those guys are gone. So whoever the new GM is going to be, if that is Champ Kelly and two other guys, or just somewhere else, and you bring back McDaniel, or let's say they say, let's run it back with these guys. Could I see a scenario where they do that, and with this fight, with a new formula, with the way the draft goes, bring in a team that we could be excited for next year, or can we get ourselves excited for? I think, yeah, you can. And the reason why I do believe that is because I think, you know, McDaniel is you see the way this team is playing right now with nothing to play for. You give him an offseason with a new general manager, front office, you know, let's get this draft. Let's go get our new quarterback, or let's get a guy who could compete. Let me go ahead and get the bad pieces out. Let's bring the young pieces in. No one's going to believe in us. There's no expectations next year for the Miami Dolphins. There's nothing you could say, oh, Dolphins are going to playoffs. No one should be saying that next year. So it's really a kind of a win-win situation, because if he under promises and over delivers, then that's a win, which is what's going on right now with Miami. I think there is a scenario where he could come back and with a new general manager and everything and be fired up. And we might say, damn, wait, okay, he needed this year. He needed to get Greer out of the way. He needed to get the staff out of the way. Yes, for me right now is, yes, I would like to see, we've got rid of, we're going to go ahead and bring a new coach, bring a new front office. It's a clean slate. But would I be upset if Ross, after week 18, says McDaniel's coming back? Really? No, I could talk myself being, okay, let's give it one more year, you know, with a new quarterback, with a new front office, and let's see the type of team they could build in an offseason. And, you know, McDaniel's going to say, we have something to play for. We're playing for my job. We're playing because nobody believes in us. They shouldn't. So yeah, I could talk myself into a scenario where I'm okay with McDaniel coming back because of what you're seeing right now with this football team. They have nothing to play for. This season should be a wrap. And Greg brought up a great point. Brett's bringing that up. You look around the league, and there are teams that are in the same boat as Miami. Nothing to play for. There's no play. And you could tell these guys have quit. They do not want to play for their coach. They don't want to play for the wins. They don't care about the fans. They don't give a damn about nothing but the paycheck. You can't say that about the Miami Dolphins. They are still playing hard. They are still trying to win. You can see that on the field, not just in the locker room, but on the field, they're still having fun. They're still playing for their coach. And that speaks to something. That tells you how they feel about this guy. Doesn't matter what the fans think. They still believe in that coach. So, yes, that's something where, as a team owner, you look at, you know what you're seeing in the field. You're like, man, what the hell is the difference between here and there? What is it? Is the quarterback? Maybe it is. I love what Brett brought up earlier. I know we're going to talk about team needs, where everybody's talking about Mendoza and this, and I get it. That's going to be a whole offseason dialogue. We still have a lot of film to watch, but, you can still get you think about the Titans did, even though it's still thing. They drafted Malik Willis. They got who was the oh my goodness, the Cam quarterback before Cam Ward, Will Levis. Then they got Cam Ward. So that's a scenario where they didn't get those guys with the first pick. They got those guys in third round, whatever. Then they got the first overall pick and got Cam Ward. That's the same type of scenario. Miami doesn't need to go with the first overall pick or first round pick over quarterback. They could go get a Drew Alar in the third round or something like that, and then draft the guy next year. There's a lot of those type of scenarios that could play out. So I'm going to let Evan take this part because it might go a whole other direction. But yes, I could see a scenario where Mike could come back, and that won't be the worst thing in the world. But Evan, talk us off the cliff. Unless he totally shocks us with this, what he's going to follow.
Brian Flores had 2 winning seasons, 1 losing season. Mike McDaniel will have 2 winning seasons, 2 losing seasons. When the team was worse roster-wise, even the team today has more veterans and more established football players than the teams of 2019 to 2022. 2019, 20, 21. For me, if they bring back, I already predicted this. Ross is his goal is to make us all miserable. All he cares about is the F1, the tennis, making money. He doesn't care about the football team. He doesn't give a crap. I honestly don't think he cares if he wins or not. He just cares about making money. So for me, Champ Kelly will be the general manager. Mike McDaniel will be the head coach. And we'll have a team that is 8-9, potentially 7-10. So basically, we staggeringly got worse as a football team. And stop blaming the injuries. Stop blaming all this, because I know the people who are big McDaniel fans. It's all great. What is the key difference? And this is not a trick question to the three of you. What is the key difference between the teams that are winning divisions and in the AFC this year and the NFC? That, let's think about it. But Denver, young quarterback, veteran head coach. New England, young quarterback, veteran head coach. What do they have in Seattle? Young head coach, but veteran quarterback. What do they have in Chicago? A young guy who did amazing things in Detroit, and a top quarterback drafted who had the ability, just didn't have the right coach. Matthew Stafford, veteran quarterback, with a coach who's really developed over the years. Look what Kyle Shanahan is doing. And Kyle, by the way, as much as the people in the comments like Daniel C. Devil want Mike McDaniel back, look at the record. No Fred Warner, no Brendan Ayuk, no Brock Purdy. And with Mac Jones, they're fighting for the division lead, Kyle Shanahan. For me, it's about a cleanse and a redevelopment. I've already made this prediction on the show. Mike McDaniel should go away, become an OC, get a new job in the future as a head coach, the same way Brian Flores will, and he will be successful. The problem is that he's already welled out his welcome with the fan base, and he continues to make mistakes consistently. And sorry to tell you this, coaching, speaking matters. Getting your message out there matters. And yes, the team is fighting for him, but he is the person that comes up to the podium. And one of the biggest problems I have is not just how he represents the team on the field, it's also off the field. Like, you beat Buffalo, you are in and you're still like 5-6 games out of 500, and you're trolling them going around to their hangout. Like, the mentality is that they are fighting for participation trophies. Mike McDaniel right now as a head coach is fighting for participation trophies. Yay! We win a game. Participation trophy. He's not the coach right now who's going to take you to the next level and win. And unfortunately for him, I don't think he is deserving, because as much as Sea Devil and Daniel think he's I think he potentially could be a good coach. The problem is that we're not going to magically be a phenomenal football team next year with Mike McDaniel at the helm. We're going to have to cut Tua, and you're going to have to. The only person that can turn this around is you hit the luck of the right quarterback with the right head coach and the right talent evaluator in the draft to draft the right players, because we have a lot of draft picks. So for me, I don't believe this team. I believe the team will come back the way that they are with Chad Kelly and Mike McDaniel, because that's the Stephen Ross way. The problem, my biggest problem, guys, that it actually makes Stephen Ross a liar, because the best he can hit this year is status quo, and that's 8-9. That he said status quo is not good enough. So whether Mike McDaniel has performed well today, had a 4-game winning streak against poor other quarterbacks and their backups and all, he has not improved as a head coach. So my number one problem has nothing to do with Mike McDaniel, how I think of him as a person, as a head coach, how he speaks. But the biggest problem I have is 116-27, and the team has consistently gotten worse as a football team over his tenure. So take everything away that I've ever said about him. 116-27 in the third quarter. No points again today. Along with the fact that this team is once again going to have a second consecutive losing season, which did not happen in the Brian Flores era. He only had a losing record in his first year. And by the way, he took a 1-7 and went to 9-8. So it's not just like Mike McDaniel magically took us from 2-6 and 1. Remember this, guys: 1-6, 2-6. Those were his last two records at one point in a given season. A coach does not deserve to keep his job when he's 1-6 and 2-6. Yes, they fight. Yes, they have come back for him. But the fact that he ever allowed the team in 2 consecutive seasons to get into that hole. And by the way, people are going to blame injuries. Every team has injuries. The San Francisco 49ers, without Fred Warner, Brandon Ayuk, and Brock Purdy, we've been in the playoffs, already clinched a playoff spot 2 weeks ago.
Okay, I want to say this before we move on, and just the kind of go the other round of it, or the other side of it. I will say it's not status quo, because you're right. No, I don't want to hear anything about injuries. We said at the beginning of the year, no excuses, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. However, it's not status quo, because he's not going back. And if it is bringing just McDaniel back, it's not doing the same thing over and over again. Because guess what? Big difference here. Greer's gone. We had the biggest Greer fan on the network, which is Brett Lagasse. He doesn't have to hold up his sign anymore. Greer's gone. 2 player personnel, the guys who ran the player to personnel department, who were here for 20 plus years. We talked about Chris Greer being here for 20 years. Those 2 guys that got laid off were also here for 20. Those guys are gone. These guys had a big hand in the way this team was built. McDaniel is a small sliver in this team's history right now. He has not been here long enough to be worried about how shitty this team's been for 20, 30, whatever, how many years they have been. He's a small part of it. He came in with a handicapped with a quarterback who he had to try to bring the best out of, which he did for a short amount of time until he until he totally regressed off the field, on the field, whatever.
Fair enough.
Okay. He brought the best out of Tua. That was his job. That's what he did. He still was handicapped with Chris Greer. I don't put this roster on Mike McDaniel. I put it on Chris Greer. Yes, you're absolutely right. As the coach, you are held responsible for the record of your team and not making the playoffs. That is on him. However, going into next season, say as the owner or the fans who want to get behind this football team and look at the bright side is, hey, you know what? Yes, Mike McDaniel's still our head coach. Yes, we haven't won a playoff game. But you know what? Hey, guess what? Next year, we're not going with Tua as a quarterback. Hey, guess what? We have a new general manager and a new front office. This is a fresh start. Let's see what McDaniel can do with those guys. Because there are some things that you can look at and go, I like that about him. Yes, we could all joke about the whatever. But that's what he does in press conferences after he loses. You can tell he's probably not good in front of the microphone when he has to answer for that. But we know the guys get wild up for him in the locker room. We see him after he wins, how he's clear voiced and whatever the heck. So I don't go too crazy on it, even though I know everybody does. But I will say that, again, it's not status quo. If you say we're going next year with McDaniel, because, and I'm not, again, we all know where I'm staying. I get full disclosure. I think they should clean house right now. That's how I feel. But if by tomorrow Ross comes out with a press statement saying we're going to look for a new general manager, we're going to start this process now, but we are going to remain Mike McDaniel's head coach, nobody should say there, here he does, he's doing it again. The only thing he's doing again is half-passing it, which is what it is. But again, new quarterback, new general manager, new guys running the player personnel department. That's not the same thing. That was a deep claim. He just didn't get rid of the coach, which again, when you see guys are playing hard and you're looking, if we see that outside, seeing that, damn, man, these guys are still fighting. Look at that vibe in that locker room. Imagine what ownership and those guys are seeing behind closed doors with the game. Roll your eyes all you want. It rubbed you the wrong way to see them all excited after the game. It didn't me. It was two separate thought processes, because I don't want to see miserable now. That's when I would say fire them. Why do I want a team miserable in the locker room? What the hell are we playing for? Oh, I want a top 7 pick for what? I don't know who's going to pick, and I don't know if those picks are quality or not. I want to see a team that's fighting, because guess what? I'm already looking towards next year. I want to see guys that are fired up, because I'm like, those are the guys I want on my team. When there's nothing to play for and they're busting their ass week in and week out, those are the guys I want on my football team. Not guys who are, we suck, man. Why are we playing? Those are the guys I say, get the hell out. Walk off. Tyreek Hill, be gone. Those guys that quit on your team, and I'm saying from last year, those type of guys, I don't give a shit how talented you are. You act like that, you're not fighting for the team. You're not fighting for your whatever. Get the hell out of here. But the guys there that are riding in the laundry carts and having a blast and dabbing up with Champ Kelly and Mike McDaniel, whatever, and they're fired up and they're pumped up at 7-9 when there's no playoffs in sight. Sign me those guys. I'll go to war with any of those guys, because those guys will never quit. That's who I want on a football team. The reason why we're 7-9 is because we have all those other bunch of quitters and guys who care more about their pocketbook and their image and everything else. They don't bust their ass. That's why Tua's on the bench. That's why Tyreek is going to be out the door. That's why we change. Those guys care more about their Instagram, more about the money, more about their video games. They care more about that. The guys that are celebrating and busting their ass week in and week out and not quitting, and that even goes for Jalen Waddle, because when he is healthy, he busts his ass. He just can't stay healthy. But those are guys you want on your team that are going to bust their ass week in and week out. And those are the guys that have not quit on their coach. And that speaks to something with Mike McDaniel. Whether you love him or hate him, you could say, damn, they have not quit on that guy. That speaks to him. Go ahead, Brett.
So, yeah, with all that, there's a couple things that like we don't know for sure, that I don't know. Like you talking about, like with Tyreek quit and all that. There's a couple things I've brought up before in the past that like kind of sucked, because like it felt like every player's being held to a standard except for Tua, and it was like ever since McDaniel got here, it was coddle Tua, like protect him at all costs, make him better mentally. But that wasn't McDaniel. I don't believe that's from McDaniel. I believe that was Greer protecting his players. And the reason I say that is not a lot of players, like a couple coaches turned the job down. Like, you know, they didn't want to do that. They want to be able to say, hey, no, if he's not my guy, I want to move on. And they didn't want to get stuck with the coaching staff that was there. All this stems from Greer. He was a VP of player personnel. He was the one. If you look at the roster, the players Greer picked, there's a reason we're pissed off that AVG is making plays with the Vikings and still good. We could have resigned him. Why didn't we? Because he wasn't a Greer guy. Brian Flores wanted him in the draft, and Greer didn't draft him. But we gave Cam Smith how many years? We gave Tua way too many years. And so it was one of those things where it's just like, it obviously came from the top. How much did McDaniel go? But that's where you start looking at it too. Like at some point, some of those players did quit on McDaniel for that. So and it was hard for them. Like, dude, I'm tired of I'm getting blamed for being the like Tyreek in his defense. He shouldn't have quit, but he was our offense. The offense didn't run through him, and he's the one getting the blame from the fans. The coaches getting ridiculed, running the wrong route and stuff or whatever. And Tua's not being held to the same standard. It is frustrating. And mind you, Tyreek came from a winning team and a winning culture and a winning coach. And so I understand those guys quitting, but that's where on the flip side of keeping McDaniel, of people who are against it, makes sense, because it's like you might have to reset and restart that entire thing. Yeah, you have guys playing for him. How many guys can we keep into next year with the way the cap is? So is at this point, so you really have to sit back and say, can we redo this, or do we have a chance at all to reset the entire way of doing things? And as far as the status quo goes, I just looked it up. Since Ross has owned the team, not counting this year, the team is averaged 7.6 wins a year and average 8.5 losses. And we're headed for an 8-9 season or a 7-10 season. But that's all the way to 2009. So again, that kind of goes with what Bobby said. That's not necessarily McDaniel's fault at all. It's not. Well, it's a sliver of him. You go.
He has the best roster.
Brian,
He's had the best roster over the course of his coaching than any other team, any other coach in those. No, Sperano, Philbin, Gase, Flores. Those four coaches did not have the roster.
He did not have the best roster. Stop it.
22 and 23 did not have the best roster?
No, nope.
Even
Who
aside,
had the better roster?
What defense did he have? What was his offensive line? What was
2023 he had a bad defense with Howard and Ramsey?
Well, hang on. Even with that, even with all that, if you go back and look, the team
go back and look at
built
it.
wrong. The team's always been built wrong.
I know it's built wrong. Fine.
There you go.
Wise.
Ooh,
7
yeah.
Pro Bowlers. Most Pro Bowlers.
Boom.
Fine. Since it's a participation trophy, most Pro Bowlers.
Well,
Most Pro Bowlers.
right, but he's not the one who signed Tyreek to that deal and kept extending him, and he's also not.
He could have denied the trade. He didn't have to take that trade on as a new head
No,
coach.
he didn't have to.
I will say it wasn't until McDaniel got here that all of a sudden, now we're going after wide receiver. Now we're going after pass rushers. Now we're going after corner. Even though Greer can't draft,
We had Byron Jones. Jones.
Yeah, but even though Chris Greer cannot draft the right player on an all-pro team and still somehow find the worst players on the roster, it was still going after the right positions. Like Chop Robinson was the correct position. Jalen Phillips was the correct position, just the wrong players. You know what I mean? Noah Igbenogany, right position, wrong player.
We need the right
talent.
So
it's like Tua Tagovailoa, the right position, wrong player. So it's like we're going after the wrong players, and it's the philosophy of the evaluation that has really been awful. But there's plenty of argument to be made to say Miami needs to purge, rebuild this culture because it's stained from what, and maybe even if it's not McDaniel's fault, it's stained from that. Can it be recovered? I don't know. But if you get rid of Tua, I feel like you could change the culture because there's no longer that we got to baby him, we got to protect him because he thought he sucked because Flores was mean to him by being a coach and holding him accountable and whatever.
Greg, you've been quiet. Floor is yours. Anything you want to talk? Please jump in.
No, I've been saying this for a very, very long time. All right. I've been saying this since Cam Cameron. All right. And since I've had somewhat of a platform online through blogs and shows like this and things like that. Right. Miami's philosophy was wrong. Okay. How you build a team was wrong. Putting the emphasis on the wrong positions early in the draft and in free agency was wrong. So no matter how well you execute that philosophy, it being wrong means you're not going to succeed. All right. What was the consistent thing about all of those years going all the way back there was basically Chris Greer in the front office. With McDaniel, you started to see a little bit of change, but not much. Okay. All right. You still drafted Tua number 5, which you needed a quarterback. You should pick him number 5. Your next pick was a right tackle. Okay. That's just wrong, dumb philosophy. All right. You look at the team that picked first that year when they picked Joe Burrow, their next pick in the second round was a wide receiver. Their first pick in the year after that was a wide receiver.
Yeah.
And who went to a Super Bowl? Who's been to 2 championship games? All right.
Yeah.
When their philosophy is right, you still have to execute it with the right players. All right. You don't because the philosophy is right, you still have to execute it and make it right. But if
You
it's
don't trade up
wrong,
for Jalen Waddle, David, when you had a chance at Jamar Chase. Sorry.
pretty much. All right. but you see where I'm going with this.
Yeah.
The problem with Miami has been it's just the way they build a team has just been wrong. Now that they've cleared the front office, maybe that philosophy changes. I can't say that it will. I'm just saying there's a possibility that it will.
Mm-hmm.
With
hope.
that, well, you know, I
or should I say there's opportunity? I shouldn't say hope.
Yeah.
There's opportunity now. Now there's like a chance that they could do it.
yeah, and you know, I'm always one of those guys who says hope is not a strategy, right?
Right.
Or hope is not a philosophy. Okay.
Right. Yes.
All right.
You rubbed them the wrong way with that one. Don't say hope.
Right.
I was thinking of Star Wars: A New Hope. Okay.
but there's an
Nerds.
opportunity here. All right. And again, I said it at the beginning of the show. I don't think McDaniel should be back. But with the changes to the front office and the changes to the quarterback, and if they come back at the end of the season and say Tua is going to be our starting quarterback next year, then all of this BS is out
that's
the
a whole
window,
different
right?
conversation. Yeah.
Okay, that's a whole different conversation at that point. But
We're ready to
new
throw
front
hands.
office, new quarterback. There's a chance for a new philosophy.
Yeah.
And I'm willing to at least harbor that opportunity because basically 4 or 5 weeks ago, it was like, okay, we're going to have the same quarterback, the same head coach, and a lot of the same front office people. Then they, you know, I mean, there was nothing to look forward to in 2026. At least this is going to be hopefully different.
Mm-hmm.
Should be different. Let's see where it goes.
It's not hopefully. It's opportunity to be different.
It's an opportunity to be different. Yes.
I like it. But honestly, though, and like I keep pointing back to, because Ross has always fired GM, fire coach, fire GM, fire coach. It just keeps going back and forth, back and forth. And then the last time he cleaned house, he just promoted Greer up again and just pushed everybody out of the way.
Mhm.
And it fell on his face. And then he did it again and fell. This is the first time that's publicly that Ross has gone into the front office and fired scouting directors, like not just GMs, but he fired guys that were like loyal to Greer and got rid of them. So I think there has been infighting for a long time. And after they fired Tannenbaum and Gase, then they were like, well, no longer are you going to have to ask who made the decision. We're going to be in lockstep. Next thing you know, there's infighting. Kyle Van Noy on one of the radio shows on podcasts was talking about how he was a GM's pick, not a Flores pick. And that's why there was he was gone the next year and there was fighting about that and how there was a whole lot of stuff that went on and that no one talks about between Flores and Greer. And then it happened. It's something, there's always been a constant fight for power in that building with Stephen Ross because he's not there. And that's why Wayne Huizenga had got Bill Parcells had a clear path. Say, hey, you're the man in charge. You're running the show. And Bill Parcells, in his defense, whether it was a wrong philosophy or not, he got a GM that did the same, that followed his same philosophy. He got a head coach that followed the same philosophy. So they were all on the same page. There wasn't a whole lot of infighting.
Yeah, but
right or wrong.
But Jeff Ireland wasn't making decisions when under Bill Parcells.
No, Parcells.
Bill Parcells was all right. So.
No, I'm just saying, like it's still like everything was within this. It wasn't like Greer saying, "Oh, like," because Flores and McDaniel are two different philosophy coaches, and you're thinking it's like it doesn't work. Like Pittsburgh, when they've had a head coach for a long time, and when they were talking about their head coaches, last time they lost on Monday Night Football was Chuck Noll, but that was only 2 coaches ago. So it just shows you like how long they keep coaches because they know what they look for and they develop it. And same thing with the Ravens. The last time they needed a coach was 2008. So or 7. So it's like when you really look back at like it's just such a broken hodgepodge philosophy. So it's like this is the first time that Ross has finally said, "I've had enough. Like I'm cleaning out the front office, and I'm gonna."
Yeah.
But now we got to see, does he start from scratch? We'll see. Or maybe Kelly came in, was like, you know what, I'm changing shit. I don't know, who knows?
I remember the rumor was that Chris Greer was going to step down or get promoted. Excuse me. So maybe that's why he was brought in, Champ Kelly, to eventually replace Greer. Maybe they just had to expedite it. But go ahead, Greg, before we move on.
No, I was just going to say, we don't know what the conversations are that are happening in the building that are not public.
Exactly,
Right?
100%.
And we, you know, if Kelly's going to be the GM, and that's why he was brought in here, and he's the acting GM now, and things like that, and if he went and told Ross, we can win with Mike McDaniel, all right, the GM's picked his coach then.
Yeah,
right?
exactly. 100% agree with that. Yeah.
Or if Mike McDaniel went in and said, let's go get this guy because I think he'll be a good GM, and if Mike McDaniel picked the GM and he's already on the roster, so be it. All right. It's basically, we don't know if it happened. We don't know what's going on here, you know, because we're not inside these conversations. But we've been saying on this show and everywhere else, all right, we want the GM to pick the coach, or the coach to pick the GM. We don't know if that's not already happened.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right. And because of it, because of the front office changes and the scouting changes and things like that, it looks like it might have already happened. All right. And it doesn't mean I agree with it, but
Right, yeah.
at least they're following what we wanted them to potentially follow. Let's put it that way.
So, Greg, I'm going to stay with you on this. We'll move on because we're running short on time, but just very quick. You know, as we go through the season, we're coming towards the end. We're going to get a lot of off-season talk, draft, free agency. So when I ask you this question, don't just think about the draft. Think about overall team needs in regards of free agency and the draft. Where do you stand right now after watching this football team, your top 5 team needs for the Miami Dolphins going into the offseason?
It's basically all on the edges. We need cornerbacks, we need safeties, we need wide receivers, we need a starting tight end, and those are positions outside of quarterback. We still don't know about the quarterback. The quarterback is always number one. We have a lot of questions still at quarterback, but the game of football is outside in. You need playmakers at the wide receiver and at tight end, and you need DBs to basically contain passing. And if we're going to really talk about it, the 2 biggest needs on defense are DBs and edge pass rushers, and then it's wide receivers and tight ends. Now, Lotus, and I'll say this, and you know, the O-line has not gotten better as the years gone, not by leaps and bounds. The running game has gotten better because we got Dolchich mid-season, and he's not a great blocker, but he's not awful. And then we started playing the 6 offensive linemen. Those secured the edges. When you secure the edges, you can run the football.
Yep.
That's how important it is.
I love it. And again, I've seen a couple times, people are starting to do mock drafts. I know it's a little early. I mean, it's not early, it's getting there, but mock drafts. And I've seen wide receiver, and people going, what, wide receiver? Yes. Wide receiver should be in a conversation for the Miami Dolphins more now than ever. Tyreek more than likely is gone. Jalen Waddle cannot stay healthy. The Dolphins wide receiver group that used to be looked at like, damn, that's our best group. Not so much anymore. So, I don't know how realistic that is, but I've seen, of course, Carnell Tate was the one that I saw people were going crazy for. No way. Hey, if he's sitting there, whatever, I know you would. If Carnell Tate was sitting there at that pick and Miami got him, that would be a good pick. That's a playmaker. That's a pick. Corner, our friend Jason Sarney, the FTSN Faithful Pod, he did a mock recently at a corner. That absolutely, safety is a position of need for Miami. Tight end, absolutely, because we don't know what's going to go on with Darren Waller. Edge rusher. What are you talking about, edge rusher? We traded Jalen Phillips. Bradley Chubb, as much as I've been very happy with him this year, we not guaranteed he'll be back next year with that cap number. And then Chop Robinson, we understand his sophomore slump. He may come back better, stronger than he did in year 2. He's not having a good year now. Absolutely, edge rusher should be in consideration at any point in the draft. So I think all great points by Greg. And you're right, quarterback, obviously, right? That's an obvious one. But those other positions are absolutely dire needs for the Miami Dolphins. Brett, what about you?
My predictions are going to be the same, except I'm going to add running back. So I think on defense, corner and edge rushers, obviously edge rushers because, we don't have much left. Chubb probably won't be back. Chop Robinson, I don't know what we have in him. But we need to get better at edge rusher. We've needed to get better at edge rusher for a long while. Wide receiver, I like Jalen Waddle. He's a good player, not a great player. But, you really have nobody else. Malik Washington's a good, solid, third, fourth receiver. But the receiving room has been a problem for a while. Even without, after Tyreek, it's just been okay. And I'm taking this year as, pretty much assuming we're not getting a quarterback. And we're just going to go the next year with what we have, maybe draft a guy in, mid-rounds, whatever. So just kind of looking at that, with that said, I've said it earlier, Dolchik is a good, tight end 2. You still need to get a good starting tight end. You need – like Greg said, our tight end room was so bad for so long that average guy like Dolchik is looking good. Smythe was so awful. Julian Hill started to show flashes and then just kind of fell apart. But yeah, tight end definitely has to improve. And one position that nobody's going to agree with is running back has to improve.
Yeah, you did say running back. Yeah, I was going to ask you follow up on that part.
So Devon Achane is a good back, but he's not the back you want to put the bulk of your load into. You know what I mean? You don't want him as your bulk carry. Jalen Wright looks like he's starting to understand the offense a little better. He's starting to run a little better. He's not thinking as much. He's playing a little bit better. Ollie Gordon, I do want to see Ollie Gordon step up a little bit because I think he has some potential. But we need a true, every down back. We need to improve the running back room. We need a stud running back. Look what Saquon Barkley does. Look what Dalvin Cook does. Look what Derrick Henry does. These elite running backs can change your offense, right? So improving the running back would make Devon Achane that much more of a weapon, if that makes sense. That actually, by getting a more improved running back, you actually now have improved your receiving because now you have Devon Achane as a receiving back too, or as a threat, being able to have 2 backs on the field again. And be able to have him as a receiver, being able to use him in multitudes of ways. So it kind of opens things up for you. But I do think we need to get better at running back, a more consistent every down back, and Achane and him be a good 1-2 punch.
Is it more about Jalen White and Ollie Gordon? Is that you don't really see them as that one of the maybe the 2 to Achane's 1 or the 1 to Achane's 2? You think they need a more?
Yeah. I see Achane should be the 2, and then we should have the true number 1 back. So I like Achane, but you notice how the run game kind of stalls even with Achane, and then he'll manufacture some yards, but then they'll have to get a little creative to kind of get it. It's just he's a good back, but he doesn't create as much as it seems in a sense. The system creates a lot of it with his speed. But he's a dangerous back, but I do think he's getting too many carries, too many touches to where I think we need to have a true stud number 1 back to carry the bulk of the load. And I think that would open the offense up a lot more and make Achane just a perfect weapon to have. Think of it how the Eagles had Brian Westbrook and not Buckhalter, but when the Eagles had Westbrook and Dorsey Levens as a 1-2 punch back in the day, or Deuce Staley and Westbrook. You know what I mean? They had that true stud running back, and then they had Westbrook as a receiver back, as a receiver, as a third down back, as a screen, just kind of mix it up with them, and it worked really well. So Andy Reid's done that a lot with different backs and stuff. Now he has Pacheco and Kareem Hunt. Kareem Hunt's the hammer, so you just need something along those lines, if that makes sense. Or what they had in New Orleans with
Deuce McAllister and Reggie Bush, yeah,
something along those lines. Yeah.
Evan, we talked about this earlier. Do you want to add anything to what we talked about earlier? To what they're saying, react to anything what they brought up?
No, for me, the corner to go, the edge positions are where it's key. Wide receiver, I think, will open my eyes more today. I still think that we, on the lineman side of things, on the edge rusher side of things, I think we need to improve, because if Bradley Chubb is not back, you're only going to have Chop Robinson there. And if for some reason they don't want to play McClendon, they don't want to see what's out. That's what also disappointed me. I said this on the pregame show, like, why you're not playing every young guy on the roster right now to see what you got surprised me a little bit. But no, overall for me, it's the whole development of this team, and this is where I stand. I don't believe what frustrates me more about the Champ Kelly, Mike McDaniel experiment is that these are not people who have experience in winning and pure talent evaluation. Champ Kelly was brought in as an advisor. He's never been a leader as an assistant general manager or general manager on another team. He has not been a guy who's picked players in the draft as the lead guy. So that's what frustrates me, is that if you keep Mike McDaniel and you keep Champ Kelly, you're basically saying we're going to give it one more go with this team, maybe with the addition of cutting Tua. But at the same time, for me, I want a talent evaluator. I want someone who has control and decision making, and I don't believe you can get that guy if you don't clean house. So overall, in terms of actual talent, until you get the right talent evaluator, it doesn't matter what needs you have, because the needs of the current franchise, as it stands right now, is at the beckon of Mike McDaniel and whatever. Champ Kelly's not going to go out and get what he thinks is best. He's going to go what his head coach tells him to do, because his head coach is not going to sit there as a lame duck going into the next year. And Daniel wanted to ask what our total win count is. It depends on who the head coach is. But for me, that's my biggest problem, is that you will not get, guys, Greg and Brett and Bobby, all the needs you have are not the needs of the team with the current head coach and the current general manager, assistant general manager. Because also, for me, you know what's actually funny about the Dolphins, guys, and I think none of us talked about it when it happened? Head coaches get fired midseason. General managers get fired in the offseason. What the Dolphins did is they fired the general manager, so nothing's actually happened with Champ. What move has Champ Kelly made? Nothing. So he's just basically appeasing the fans by getting rid of Chris Greer, because Mike McDaniel was the flavor of the month for Steve Ross. So for me, we can get all the needs we want, guys, until I actually see the talent evaluator who's going to make those decisions. Forget it. I don't believe it.
I mean, he got something for Jalen Phillips without him walking, because Jalen Phillips wasn't going to resign. So
no, they had a limit. They had a limit on what they would accept, and that was it. It was a Dolphins decision on this is what we're willing to accept. If Chris Greer was still there, we wouldn't have changed Jalen Phillips.
No, but that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
I understand that. I'm just saying,
he did, and he's. I think think he was a big part of pushing the bench too. I do think. I think
so. Did you see him and Quinn Ewers on the field today?
Yeah.
Post game, and when they were walking off, how they dabbed and they good. So again, I'm going to say this about Champ Kelly, and this is not a stamp of approval or nothing like that. I'm just going to say, first of all, nobody has the experience until they get the experience. Just going to say that. That's what the first thing I'm going to say. So I'm not going to hold that against him. No one's had that experience. He was an interim GM before. He had roles before. We don't know what's happening behind the scenes. I think Greg brought that up earlier. We don't know the conversations that are happening behind the scenes. We don't know how much of a role that Champ Kelly has in the day-to-day operations in regards of, hey, are we benching Tua? Hey, is Quinn going to be the starter? And if Quinn starts, if he does well, what's the next steps? Is he acting as the interim GM until he actually gets the job? Like, he's not just a lame duck sitting there. I'm sure he's doing stuff. He's promoting, demoting, signing players off here and there. Just what it is. The team needs are the team needs, no matter who the GM is or the coach.
Of course, but they've been the same team needs for years.
Exactly.
Right.
But there's the difference. Chris Greer is not there.
But my point
Chris Greer is not there. The two other guys that are the head of player personnel are not there. I think we need to get off the boat of it's same old Dolphins, because it's not same old Dolphins.
It will be same old Dolphins.
No, it will not.
Because the head coach, a new head coach will come in with a new philosophy on what they need in the draft, working in unison with the GM. Now you have a guy who next year, let me ask you guys, in all honesty, is Mike McDaniel the head coach in 2027 if we have a losing record?
I don't know.
I don't know. That's hard to answer.
No,
Yeah,
but my
that's
point
not-
is
that's-
3 consecutive losing seasons. Name me a coach who's kept their job. So
I
my
would say
point is,
no, to be
so
honest.
for me, I think Mike McDaniel. Let me be very clear to everybody who's watching. Mike McDaniel will be back next season. Champ Kelly will be the general manager. I have no bones about it. If I had to put money in Vegas right now, take $100, put it down. Is Mike McDaniel back next season with Champ Kelly? Yes or no? The answer is yes. They will be back. But my point is that I don't believe the team will ever actually fundamentally change until you cleanse it completely. Because unfortunately for Mike McDaniel, he is tied to the history of the Miami Dolphins mediocrity. That's just my opinion.
No, he's not. No, he's
Oh,
not.
yes, he is.
No, he's not.
Oh,
Evan.
yes, he
Stop
is.
It. Stop it, Evan. Wait a minute. Just stop talking for a minute. Take a breath. Wait a minute.
Oh, my
I'm sorry.
God.
No, oh my gosh, nothing. How do you say he how many
That's
years
my
how
opinion.
many years have Mike McDaniel been here? How many years?
4.
And I'm not
4.
advocating to keep him.
Longer than every coach in 2009. More than any
Stop.
coach in 2009.
Oh,
It's been longer than
wait a
Philbin,
minute.
longer
Just
than
wait.
Gase, longer than
Wait a
Flores.
minute. We heard you
Yeah,
talk.
yeah.
We heard you talk. Just wait a second. How many years was Chris Greer here? Brett, you know this answer.
1999.
Okay.
As a GM since 2016.
The
but he
two
was
other
with the
guys,
team since
20 plus
1999.
years. The two other
Yeah.
guys, the head of player personnel. This guy was here for 4 years. Came in here with and again, I'm sorry, but I'm just going to do this just to do it.
Thank you, DSG. I love you, buddy. You're always there for me, buddy.
Oh, he's a stir of the pot. He don't buy your shit. He's just stirring it. That's all he's doing.
Bobby, you might want to ban someone just right now. Just
Okay. I don't ban someone. I would never ban you.
no, just from the
He used the wrong version of 2. You should ban him just for that alone.
By the way, I will say, Bobby, I just want the Dolphins to do something different. Like
They did. They did do
Cl-
something different.
When's the last time they fired the head coach and the general manager at the same time?
But
year?
that's not. But again, the point of, first of all, we were talking about team needs, and you brought it right back to the coach. I mean,
No, I'm bringing it to the whole fundamental structure of the team.
And you have to have something written on the paper.
How about this?
You're not-
Every position on the team, from top to bottom, including owner, needs to be changed.
That won't happen. The owner will never change. I'm not waiting.
Is that simple enough? Every position needs a
I
change.
agree with Bobby. It's not. I agree, but it's not worth wasting our breath for.
Yeah, I'm not.
Can they fire Tom Garfinkel? Can they fire
Ah.
Dan Marino? Can they?
Either way.
Bobby, I understand, but no, for me, guys, it's really the mentality of it. I was cheering for I watched the game today, Bobby. What did I say today? What would happen in the game? They're going to fall asleep in the second half. They're going to fall asleep.
I don't think they fell asleep. I think they played down to their competition. I think that's
Down
what they
to a
did.
competition. They're playing to a team that had
It
to
doesn't
win to
matter.
make
Evan. You still, first off, you don't. It's like, I don't know what it is. You talk all this, and I'm saying this with love. You talk all this shit. Forgive me. All this trash. All this stuff about the Dolphins. All this. And then before every game, I expect them to score 40 points. If they don't score the 40 points, they're garbage.
No,
They
I
better
called them
kill this
17 today.
team.
I said
They
17
suck,
points
but they
today.
better win. And
I
if they
said
win, they
17
better
today.
win by 50. It's
No.
like, yeah,
I
but
said
that's how it
no.
comes off. I mean, my
No.
goodness. I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing here?
No.
I mean, my goodness.
No, I want to
They're
see
playing
them
a third
play
string,
60
seventh round quarterback.
Bobby, when's the last time they played 60 minutes? The Buffalo game, maybe? 60 minutes. 60 minutes.
My wife's laughing in the background. I mean, what do you want? This team is what it is.
What do I want? What do I want?
What
I
did
want
you
to
expect? What would you have loved to see today? Because let me tell you something. Let's say,
Score a point in the third quarter.
Hold on. Let's say They didn't score 27. Let's say they won. They didn't slow down in the third quarter. Let's say, Evan, they kept going. And somehow, some way, QN was threw 5 touchdowns. And Devon Achane ran for 3 touchdowns. And let's say the Dolphins picked it off 5 times. And they ran in a touchdown for a pick 6. 52 to fucking 17. Oh, my goodness. Evan, are you out here right now going, that was a great game. McDaniels should be back. I'm going to buy
Mike McDaniel is back.
No. Because the point is, what would make Evan happy after a W? Is it a W?
More than a safety.
More
than a safety. More than an average of a safety. Guys, Greg and Brett, 1.6875. You know what 1.6875 is? You know what that number is?
The average points you scored in the third quarter.
Thank you. 1.6875. That is coaching. That is not talent on the field.
Who cares? It's a win.
There's no third quarter adjustments.
You're finding a reason to bitch. Who cares?
I said it before the game.
Who cares? Look, the team is down to the last straw. Their team is down to the last straw. This team that was built by Chris Greer, who was fired. The same team that was built in 23. He had the best team of any coach. What best team for 23? The team that had no backups? The team who couldn't find a backup quarterback worth the crap? What are you talking about? It was a team built by Chris Greer. It is different. It's fundamentally different. They fired the GM. They fired the 2 guys in the back. Who cares? Just be happy. It's a win, Evan. Find heaven. All I want is happiness for you. I just want you to be happy. Stop moving the goalposts and just be happy.
Blame Brett Lagasse. I was the bandwagoner until he brought me down to earth. Like, what do you want from me, guys? Think about this. Bobby, I was bandwagoner. I was Mr. Bandwagon. Then I started spending time.
You're the extreme of it. I know. I had to deal with you first.
With Greg.
You're the extreme of everything. 1 minute I was the -1. Then I was like, Bobby, Tua's greatness thing, and this and this and that and this, and I was like, everything's miserable. The world. Oh my goodness. Jesus.
All I will tell you.
The Dolphins could have won 21-0. They should have scored more. They should have scored more. It's like,
no. Quinn Ewers, for me, did what he had to do today in spite of the mediocrity around him. That's my problem right now.
You're right. McDaniel coached as best as he can. He got a win despite the mediocre roster that was built for him. You're right. Oh no, you're talking about Quinn. I'm sorry.
Hey, back to the whole team needs thing. You guys talking to the GM with Champ Kelly. They talk about how you don't have experience, you do. He was interim GM with the Raiders for a few months. On November 1st, he was named the Raiders interim GM. And then they hired Tom Telesco in January 24. Now, he was the assistant general manager in 22-23. And the Raiders draft in 20 – let's see, hold on. Let's go back to 22.
So what you're saying is Evan was wrong. What you're saying is just say it, brother.
Well, he didn't really have much to say to draft because, Tom Telesco took over.
Don't sugarcoat it. Don't do that. He can take it. Tell him.
24, he had Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers, Johnson.
I wasn't falling asleep. I was trying to compose myself and listen to Evan because he knew what he was doing. He's poking. When he kept talking, I'm kind of like, I don't go there. I don't do none of that, but I'm kind of like, woosah. I didn't go. I go, all right, that's it. Boom.
There's been some good players. Oh, so Matt Butler that we brought over this year was one of their draft picks by the Raiders. Zamir White, Dylan Parham. Also, he was there with the Bears when they drafted Larry Borum. That's why he brought him over. Tyree Wilson, Michael Meyer, the tight end, Trey Tucker. These just some notable guys. Brock Bowers, Jackson Powers Johnson, who I thought was a pretty good offensive lineman. They got him in the second round. Tommy Eichenberg. So there's some decent players that they took with the Raiders under him as an assistant GM, and then he worked with Shanahan for 2 years with the Broncos. As a college scout.
Well, Evan, you didn't see that on your Wikipedia when you were looking at it?
No, that's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the fact that anybody who's associated to this organization in the 2024 season is tarnished. Bobby, it's like the Good Samaritan rule. It's like Sam Seinfeld, like the Good Samaritan rule. You are tied to that group as long as you're part of the band. You're an accessory to the crime.
Oh
And
no!
the day Mike McDaniel was fired, in my mind, is the day that he. Oh, by the way, and you guys will never convince me otherwise.
If you were to talk about that, Chip Kelly worked for Josh McDaniels.
Oh, Jesus Christ! I will tell you this, guys.
With Jim
by the way-
Tebow.
Okay,
But
I'm gonna
they
make-
drafted Demarius
Brett-
Thomas.
By the way,
See
Brett, Greg, and Bob, are you guys telling me with a straight face that Chris Greer walked into Mike McDaniel's office and said to him, "You don't have a choice. If you want, we're doing it anyways, whether you like it or not. We're going to negotiate against ourselves, and you are now going to be stuck with Tua Tagovailoa
We've had
for
this
the next
conversation
4
already.
years."
Stop. You're bringing up building. We brought this
No.
up already. We talked
No,
about this.
That's
Come on.
fireable. I'm sorry. I
No,
don't care what
stop
he
it.
does now.
Stop
That's
it.
fireable.
Stop it. Stop it. Listen. Again, McDaniel was hired. Nobody else interviewed the
McVay got rid of him. McVay didn't
Hold
want
on a
Goff, he
second.
got rid of him.
No, but nobody was going to come to Miami. Or Miami was going to find a guy who's going to be like, "Hey, I'm committed to fixing Tua."
In 24.
You talked already. Was the fix Tua for 2 years? He did that, or whatever long it was. Yes, the logical. The Tua's deal was coming up. Yes, hindsight, you go, "Oh man, they should have never done it." But when Tua was having the years that he was having under McDaniel with Tyreek, with Jalen Waddle, play ball, Pro Bowl, whatever, Brett never changed. I never changed. But the way they were doing, yes, the logical thing was McDaniel when he says, "Okay, wait, no, Tua is playing his best football. Wait, oh, he did play a full season. Oh, wait, he is probably. Oh, they talked about him MVP. Yes, let's not lose the guy having the most success with. Let's go ahead and extend him so that way he's here." What happened after the extension? No, put your hand down. No, take a break, breathe. You need oxygen. What happened? He fell off a cliff. You can't shame McDaniel for yes, I do believe that Greer went in there, or he said, "Look, this is where we are on the deal. They want a little bit more. They want this. Where do you stand on this? I think we should do it, bro. Get it over with. We need to go. We can't be distracted. Let's go." Hindsight is, oh yeah, they should have never have done it. I sound smart. No, come on, dude. You know damn well with the way this team was rolling, with the way that quarterback was for McDaniel, of course they're going to say to extend him. Why wouldn't you? Why do you want that distraction? It's the same reason why you want him cut right now. What are you going to say 2 years from now? Oh, who was the one that walked in that room and cut him, and now it costs $120 million? It's the same thing. Hindsight is whatever. You had to extend him at that point in time. It is what it is. I don't blame McDaniel for that. That's what it is. It's what it is, brother. Yeah, there you go. Go to sleep. Take a nap.
No,
Oh,
can I just say one thing before I get just FYI, and maybe you guys, you can agree. Maybe you guys can agree with this, Brett or Greg. In 2024, they felt the need to extend Tyreek, extend Jalen Ramsey, extend Tua, do all this nonsense. The Miami Dolphins have this curse of drafting giving people rewards for stats, not accomplishments. For me, stats are not accomplishment. Wins are accomplishments. And this team, in the years of Tua's success, had two 5-game losing streaks. And you're rewarding Tyreek, Ramsey, and Tua for that. So you rewarded the 3 players and Waddle, so 4 players for no playoff wins and 2 consecutive 5 losses.
thank you, Chris Greer.
But
Put the blame where it belongs.
Was Chris Greer on the field when they lost those 5 games, or was the coach on the field when they lost those 5 games?
Oh,
By the way, Chris Greer gone, great decision. My problem is that you gave 3 years to Flores, and Flores was in the upswing before you fired him. Mike McDaniel's on a downswing.
The difference between Flores and McDaniel, if we want to keep playing this game and bringing up Flores, who's been gone for 4 seasons, if we're going to keep playing,
and
we're
going to get a head
playing
coaching
that
job.
same violin. The difference, whether you agree or disagree, what happened was that McDaniel's a team player. He gets along with everywhere. Flores was not. Flores did not get along with Greer.
Belichick's not a team player.
Yeah, but
What?
Belichick won Super Bowls.
Oh, we had Tom Brady.
Exactly. Difference. Yeah.
I know. For example, Dan
like
Campbell.
if you're going to keep bringing up Flores was the
No,
reason why
let's do
Flores only had 3
comparison.
years is because he did not get along with the owner, did not get along with the quarterback, he didn't get along with the GM.
Yeah.
He got his ass kicked
I
out of
put
here.
him in the Dan
That's it.
Campbell range because
That
maybe
was-
look at. I put him in the
that
Dan
was a
Campbell
part.
situation. Everyone's talking, oh, Dan Campbell. Dan Campbell, we should have signed him in 2016. No, you shouldn't have. He had to go be under Sean Payton. Dan Campbell, as bad as he's blown this season, has gone to an NFC championship. He's won playoff games. He's made mistakes, but he's won playoff games. I just want to see a winning team. I don't believe, because if we were stuck with McDaniel this year, you're wasting a season of development of your players. By the way, if Mike McDaniel's here, Mike McDaniel will be the head coach. I'll say it on this right here. If Mike McDaniel is going to, Mike McDaniel will be here till literally I have no more hair on my head. Literally, the man literally will be here for the next 5 years. He will be here for his extension because he doesn't like change. Steve Ross, look how long he kept Chris Greer. My problem is this team needs a complete flushing of the mediocrity. That's all I want. I want a fresh start with new ideas. If you have a head coach who's been part of the bad ideas for the last 4 years, that's a problem for me. And like I remember, I've always said 116 and 27, 1.69875. I will hammer that, and I bet you next Sunday, when it's 15 degrees outside, they will not score a point in the third quarter.
I don't
But
know if they
again,
score a
that-
point.
Go ahead, Greg, go ahead.
That is a stat specific to this year. It didn't apply to 24, 23, or 22. All right. It's a stat specific to this year.
Mhm.
Okay. That has something to do with the talent as opposed to the coaching.
100%.
And
Thank you, Greg.
and look, I don't want McDaniels to stay, but you can't.
No, I don't think any
you
of us
can't-
do.
You can't force things on him that aren't his fault. All right.
Coaching out of the whoa, Greg. Coaching out of the locker room at halftime when he actually gets interviewed, Greg. He gets interviewed by the actual reporter, and they ask him, "What do you need to do in the third quarter?" And he does the complete opposite.
Do you actually believe a head coach tells a reporter what they're going to
No, but it's
do
obvious,
prior
Greg.
to playing
Wrong,
the
wrong,
third
wrong,
quarter?
Greg,
Okay.
what did you?
No.
Greg, why did they? Greg,
No,
what happened?
no,
Greg,
wait a minute. I'm pulling a Bobby here.
Woo!
You talk
Get
for
it,
an
Greg!
hour
Get
now.
it, Greg! Let's
You talk for an
go!
hour. Let somebody
Woo!
refute what you're saying. That's not how coaching works. Okay? This whole third quarter halftime adjustment thing, it's all BS. People adjust throughout the game every time there's a situation change. All right? And it's not something that has happened in the past. It is something specific to this year. It's just, look, there's a lot of faults with McDaniels. I have a lot of faults with him. All right. He still gets plays in too late. He still has personnel changes that are dumb. All right. He still doesn't use timeouts well. There's a lot of coaching things that bug me, but I don't hold him responsible for that. All right. I don't hold him responsible for that. As far as the player personnel stuff goes, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors. We don't know how much say McDaniel has. We don't know whose picks are whose.
And
And we don't know who's forcing who on what.
how many points per quarter in fourth quarter. 2 point. I'll get him now.
So, well,
2023.
well, I will say, like, the one thing that, if you notice, I don't say the philosophy changed, but the direction of everything changed when McDaniel got there. All of a sudden, they were drafting wide receivers in the first round, and they never did. They didn't do that before. So all of a sudden, they're like, I understand why people, or I understand why it's like it's a tough subject, because it's like I get where Evan's coming from, where he's like, clean house for the love of God, like just clean freaking house and do it the right. It's what we all want.
It's what we all want.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
yes.
at the same time, like looking at Champ Kelly, I'm just kind of like doing a little research while we're all going off here. But like the quarterbacks that the Bears drafted a quarterback in 2017 and Mr. Trubisky, 21 of Justin Fields, 24 Caleb Williams. They all have something in common. They all are athletes with good arms. Aiden O'Connell, athlete, good arm. That's who one of the quarterbacks that they drafted under Champ Kelly in the 4th round. Quinn Ewers, good arm, like a decent athlete. But like it seems like, and I'm looking back at this time with the Broncos, haven't got that far yet, but like that whole system likes athletic quarterbacks. So I'm really we don't know anything. All we could go by like is we could follow the cookie trail, man. We know the tea leaves are pointing to there was a problem, and all of a sudden the guy who's been here for 20 plus years and other guys who've been here for 20 to 30 years are gone. It seems to me that there was like an old stubborn way, and I'll put it to you like this. I've worked with guys before that were old school that like this is how we're going to do stuff. This is what we're going to do. And there's new technology to come out. And Greg, you do engineering. You understand what I'm talking about. You have to adapt to the new technology. And it's sometimes a better way of doing things. And if you don't, you're going to just hold it back. And when those guys who refuse to move forward just kind of like get stuck in their ways, you'll never adapt and overcome. The reason Andy Reid succeeded back in 1999 when he took over the Eagles and still succeeds to this day and only has, I think, 3 losing records in his entire career is because he's willing to adapt. He's willing to change, adjust his philosophies and say, okay, the rules are changing. This is what we need to move to. This is what we need to move to. And he understands how to win. He understands quarterback is the way to win. McDaniel came here. He understood, hey, I need weapons. I'm good on offensive line. I don't need to constantly spend high draft picks on offensive line. We don't need that crap. Like we can adjust and make the system work with the offensive line. We need weapons. We need running backs. We need tight ends. We need pass rushers. We need it all. Yeah. And he understood that. And so he does understand philosophy. That doesn't mean he knows how to go out and find it the right way. I'm not saying that, but he does know, hey, we need wide receivers. We need wide receivers that block. We need tight ends that block. We need tight ends that move. And I do feel like, look at the adjustments he made using an athletic offensive lineman that played tight end in college for first year in college to be able to move him at tight end, to give that better blocking, Dolchik a better blocking. All of a sudden, the run game work. McDaniel knows that. He's known it for years because that's been that system. That system has known you get guys that block. You get a tight end that's an extra offensive lineman. That's how it works. He understands that. And he understands you need the impact players to win at this level in today's time. And he's a wide receiver coach at the core. But he also understands the emphasis on blocking from wide receivers and the willpower to block. And you notice, like, you guys notice, like, the later day picks have always succeeded in Miami. Like, our better picks have always been day 3 picks or later day 2 picks. There's a lot of people say, like, it's hard for a GM to keep up with all of that, and that's why you rely on your coaching staff and stuff. A lot of times, the day 3 picks are our coaches and scouts and assistant GMs that are making those picks. And the GMs get credit for it, but inside the building, everybody knows who wanted those guys. Well, a lot of that's what's happening a lot. Like the later round guys that are succeeding is a lot of it's like coaches and stuff finding these gems, finding these guys, these undrafted free agents and stuff. So that's kind of like telling to me where you have guys like Andrew Van Ginkel who are studs of late round picks. You have guys like Malik Washington who's I'm not saying a stud, but he's outplayed his draft position, has found himself a good niche on the roster, right? Like he's a guy you can use in reverses and running the ball, short passes, slants, deep pass, like a guy who's not you're going to be your number 1, but a guy who's like a versatile weapon. It's just kind of telling that these guys understand how to evaluate a little bit better. With all that said, if we're talking about McDaniel coming back, yeah, I understand where Evan's coming from. If it's another losing season, it's like, we didn't change a damn thing. All we did was keep losing. And it is hard to really sit back and think how many coaches went into year 5 with I don't even know what McDaniel's record is. Right now he's looking at a 529 or a 514 winning record, depending on how next week goes. And it's like how many coaches have gone from that and actually won in their 5th year? A few have, but like I don't know. It's hard to fathom. So it's like, I don't know.
But I'd say this as well. All right. How many coaches came into a situation where they were basically given a quarterback that they had to use,
Mhm.
and then after 4 years, basically got a new GM, a new front office, and a new quarterback opportunity?
Right. Not a lot have.
No,
And we could be the first one to do it.
we
And
could
now,
be we could be the first one to do it, and
we're not the first one to pay a quarterback, have to get rid of him. The Broncos that did it, the Rams did it. The same coach that wanted him paid also is the same one that traded him 2 years later or a year later. So
yeah,
Matt
I mean,
Stafford.
I want to, as we are 2 hours in, because Evan had a follow-up question for you guys before we wrapped up. Before we get into that, though, I do want to read off some comments McDaniel made about the quarterback position and Quinn Ewers. But what Mike McDaniel looks for in a franchise quarterback, quote unquote, when you draft a quarterback, you don't want a ceiling. You're taking into consideration all athletic skill sets, as well as if the guy is going to be able to handle the heat. That is Polymarket says he's taking a shot at Tua there, but that's something he says what he looks for in a franchise quarterback. And in regards of Quinn Ewers, he says Quinn's very authentic, and I think in positions of leadership, it's very important. Don't let the Texas twang in his speech fool you. This dude is very, very smart. You have an idea that the game isn't too big for someone based on your history with them. It's awesome in this profession when you believe in people and they take advantage of this opportunity. That's McDaniel on Quinn Ewers. Hearing that and hearing about franchise quarterback, Evan, you asked a question earlier about a certain rumor that came out this week. You want to throw that at the guys?
Just to clarify, since Greg seems to always be right, just FYI for me, the performance of a team going from 4.4 to 5.8, that includes a 70-point game, 5.2, and then 1.4. So by the way, they've been in the bottom half of the league, by the way, every single season. This year is bottom by a country mile. Not even close. It's not even close. Like the Saints and the Saints and the fact that the Raiders have more points in the second half than the Dolphins is pretty embarrassing. Sorry to break that. The question was, would you guys move all your draft? Would you trade a couple first rounders? Do you have any interest in having Lamar Jackson as your quarterback in 2026? Brett, you're a big Lamar Jackson fan, so you can go first.
Man, how old is Lamar Jackson now? Who's
28.
2018.
28.
He's still actually young.
But injury prone. He's played 12 games.
Oh, yeah.
He's averaging 12 games in the last 4 seasons.
Yeah, it is play style. Although I do agree that with some that like the Ravens do kind of the Ravens get too conservative a lot in their play calling and their game planning. I had some interest, but I don't know how much I have because I think I would much rather go all in on a quarterback in 27. It just depends on how much it would cost to go after Lamar Jackson because I do think Lamar Jackson and Mike McDaniel could actually do pretty good together. It's just, are we looking? I know like Reclamation Project where it's like Matt Stafford comes in the Rams and they turn it around. I just don't know that would be the case with Lamar Jackson and Mike McDaniel. I'm not sure. I mean, it would open the offense up, but I'm not sure that it would be the best quarterback to get or the right move. I don't know. I'd be on the fence about it. I definitely wouldn't turn it down. Definitely be interested, but I don't know. On the fence for now.
What's the limit you would ever trade for him?
Good question.
I'd say not more than definitely only no first round pick or no more than one first round pick. I wouldn't trade multiple first round picks for him at all. Maybe this year's first and like next year's second, but I wouldn't give up multiple firsts for him.
And he needs a new contract and you have to deal with his mom. Would you give that quarterback? He'll want Dak Prescott money, $60 million a year. You give it to him?
No. See, I would structure it different because that contract, I don't know. I'd have to structure it a lot different.
He doesn't have an agent, so good luck with that one.
Yeah.
I'd rather deal with the agent than his mom.
Yeah.
I can promise you that. Greg, same question.
Yes,
You want Lamar?
yes, and I would yes. All right, he's a two-time MVP. He's 28 years old,
Mhm.
and Miami is probably willing to spend multiple first-round draft picks to move up in a draft to get an unknown.
But they were
Ooh.
before.
Ooh.
All right, so hell yes, you do it. I mean, to me, it's
Him
not
or
even
Burrow? Him or Burrow?
Mm.
either one.
No,
I
if you
would do
had
the
to
same
pick one,
thing.
if you had to target right now a disgruntled Joe Burrow or a disgruntled Lamar Jackson, who
Joe
do you
Burrow.
Lamar
want?
Jackson. Lamar Jackson.
Joe Burrow, the guy who's beat the Chiefs and the guy who's beat the Bills in the playoffs.
And Greg, who do you want? I want Burrow. Who do you want?
It's 1A and 1B, but based on injury history and things like that, you've got to take Jackson over him
Mm-hmm. Yep.
because Burrow is a better tool. You know, you can count on him for 8 to 10 games a year, and that's it. Jackson got hurt this year, but
But they're
Jackson
perfect for the Dolphins. They're injury prone. Neither one. They're perfect.
eventually a quarterback you're going to get hurt.
Yeah.
All right. Tom Brady missed the season. All right. Patrick Mahomes just got hurt. I mean, you get
Yeah,
hurt.
Lamar just has nagging injuries every year because of the way he plays.
Yeah, because of the way he plays.
But he's not out for a crazy amount of time. And again, you think about the running game, what he adds in the running game, what he adds in the passing game, and then you pair him with someone like like Devon Achane, you know, that opens a whole other element of your offense. And he is, again, 28 years old, two-time league MVP. You know, that there's no question if you have that opportunity, you do it. I understand I think Greg answers that pretty well. I understand the kind of concept going, I don't want to give up too much. I mean, but if you're going to give up, we're talking about trading up. If the Dolphins trade up like we did, if the Giants had the number one pick, that's more than likely than the Raiders. But if the Giants have the Dolphins trade up, give up a couple first round picks plus someone to the Giants pick. If it was the Giants, even though you get excited about a prospect, but there's an unknown with that prospect. That guy could be a bust. That guy could get whatever. Lamar Jackson, you know what you're getting. You've seen the best of this guy. He's a two-time league MVP at 28 years old. And it's not like he has he's the product of the talent around him. He's a talent within himself. You know, he's done a lot more with a lot less. Go ahead, Greg. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, and look at the division you're in. Josh Allen ain't going anywhere. May ain't going anywhere.
Yeah.
You better get a quarterback who can play with those guys. I mean, otherwise, if Miami does not find that quarterback that can compete on a throw by throw, down by down, explosive play scenario with Josh Allen and Drake May, they're forever going to be third or fourth in the division. Forever.
Oh, yeah.
But don't you need to have? But the quarter, no, I don't disagree with you. The difference is with Josh Allen and he has James Cook. Yeah, and then Drake May has Stephon Diggs, Ramondre Stevenson, etc. For the Dolphins, my concern right now is Bobby, we're also concerned about the whole, now we're establishing the run. To compete with the other teams, you have to put up 35, 40 points. Now, we only did that. The only time we ever scored 35, 40 points is when Tyreek Hill was in the lineup. You're going to potentially lose Tyreek. You're probably done with Tyreek. So, I don't know. This is no matter what, we don't have the personnel, even with Lamar, to be able to compete with the other teams because we don't have the weapons around them. We'd have to draft them.
I don't think that's fair.
Well, I mean, hold on now. Look at Lamar Jackson's wide receivers in
But he has Isaiah Likely, he has
They
Zay
are
Flowers, he has Mark Andrews, he has Derrick Henry. Mark
Andrews, Derrick Henry. Yes, the rest.
That's right. Yeah,
Likely is good, but Likely is a good
those
player.
guys are those guys are
Flowers
just guys without Lamar Jackson. The only reason why we
Zay
know their
Flowers,
names.
No, I agree. I totally agree. Yeah, but do you think that Lamar Jackson makes Jalen Waddle better?
I mean, but Jalen Waddle's a good receiver. He's not like an elite receiver.
He's not an elite receiver.
Right, but what if I kept saying
Zay
all
Flowers.
season, a better quarterback would make this offense better where you're at, and then if you can still draft another wide receiver, you can still
Well,
be good.
And we could have a whole nother show about this, but Jalen Waddle is essentially Jalen Waddle right now because he's being asked to do things that he probably shouldn't be asked to do because Tua is limited and can only throw over the middle of the field.
That's true. Yeah.
Jalen Waddle is pretty much a pure outside wide receiver who should be playing basically numbers and outside. All right. He gets hurt coming over the middle because he's not the biggest guy in the world. All right.
And why wasn't he
That's
used properly?
fair.
Why wasn't he being used properly today? If they found room for DOE,
I think it's hard to change your offense.
They didn't have Mike
week
McDaniel.
14.
That's why. They would if it was
Well,
Mike, if they had Mike McDaniel, he wouldn't used properly.
So like here's the thing with
Darren Waller had 0 receptions today. Darren Waller.
I'm looking at
Greg Dulcich was pretty damn good.
Lamar Jackson's dead cap or a cap hit for 2026 is $74.5 million. So even with all that said, with Tua's contract,
That's what, 20 million less than Tua's.
yeah, like you got all the dead cap we're gonna have with everybody, with Chubb, with Tyreek, with Tua. We're gonna have a lot of dead cap here, and
Bring back the same people.
so what would I do if I were to get Lamar Jackson? I'm automatically extending him because I'm kicking that can down the road here.
You look at Sammy. You know,
Yeah,
just
Sammy.
slow down. If you're in here,
I know it's not popular. I still would like Joe Burrow because I hear he misses time. Joe Burrow went after 2020. He comes back from an injury, goes all the way to the Super Bowl. Comes back the next year, goes all the way to the AFC Championship game. Doesn't miss a game. He did have a rest game for
that was in 2020.
21, they went to the Super Bowl. 22, they went to the AFC Championship game. And then the next year, he played I forgot how many games he played in 2022. So like he played like 50 plus games in a row before he even got hurt again. So like he had like 4 seasons before he even got hurt, and he carried the offense. So it's just like there is some misconception with Joe Burrow getting hurt. However, Burrow has been getting beat to hell.
Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow has nothing to play for, he could have sat out the season, relaxed. Instead, he's averaging 42 points a game in the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, Joe Burrow is
Joe Burrow's the real deal.
He's cold-blooded.
42 points.
Here you go. He played 16 games, and then the next season, 10 games between 21 and 23. Right?
Joe Burrow, no
So that's
doubt, is an
42
elite quarterback. He's great.
And that's not counting his off season going to. So in 21, he played 16 games and then went to a Super Bowl. In 22, played 16 games, then went to an AFC Championship. And then the next year, played 10 straight games, got hurt.
But
played 17 straight games the next year.
Here's my thing.
So he hasn't got hurt since 23.
Okay. Here's my thing, though. Here's my other pushback. As great as Joe Burrow is, and we know how good he can be and what he is, we have not seen him with less than elite weapons. You know, Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, right? You know, those two receivers. We haven't seen him without those guys. Mm-hmm. He had Jamar Chase. We've seen Lamar Jackson with no elite weapons in regards of the receivers. I mean, he makes guys better. How would Joe Burrow look in Miami's offense with Devon Achane, Malik Washington, Taj Washington, maybe Jalen Waddle, who's often injured? How would that offensive look? Would you rather have him as quarterback of that offense, or would you rather have Lamar Jackson, who can not only throw it to those guys, but also could run out and make plays? See what I'm saying? That's my thing.
Go get Snoop. Then what's your Snoop?
I honestly think
Snoop had a great game yesterday.
I honestly think Joe Burrow, because Joe Burrow would still make this offense good. Both of them make the offense good. Yeah. Joe Burrow does isn't just because of his weapons either.
I know, but that's a question you got to look at. Not just injury, it's also part of that too.
It's a fair question, but he has had multiple games where one of those guys is hurt, T. Higgins or Jamar Chase is hurt, and there's a couple games where Jamar Chase disappeared and T. Higgins was hurt. You guys like Cincinnati at all?
I think he's talking about Ty out of
Alabama. No Alabama quarterback.
No, don't talk about the school. Talk about the player, not the school, the player.
I'm not a huge fan of how he plays.
Okay.
I'd have to watch more of him, but I'm not a huge fan. I'm not a huge fan of this draft class for quarterbacks. But
that's why I think third round is safe. I think, if you're talking about later rounds, that's a different kind of conversation.
That's why I keep saying Alar, because he could sneak in. He's got a ton of talent. He's a smart guy. He's got a level head. coming off an injury. You can kind of sneak him. If he doesn't work out, whatever. Just you draft one at 27. But you're just taking a chance. Real quick on that note, Don Shula drafted 18 quarterbacks in his span with the Dolphins. 18 quarterbacks. The Dolphins, since Don Shula, since then, have drafted 10.
I will say, just to add to Sammy's point too, more than likely, Miami has no shot at any of these guys. It's just really just hearsay. But I guess the fun part of it is, who would you go get? Who would you try to get? But anyway,
I'm surprised if one of those is moved. Though. I think
no. I think
Baltimore
Lamar
might.
Jackson could be,
Yeah.
but either way, let me just say, and one full thing, we'll wrap this up now in a second here. Dolphins did defeat the Buccaneers 2017. Thank everybody who's watching right now. The FTSN Post Game show. Sammy's in South Florida. He's probably partying it up, but we appreciate him in the comments here.
He was at Flanagan's.
Oh, look at you. Okay, look at him. There you go. I'm looking forward to go to this Flanagan's in
Did you
February.
get your
I'm
green
down there
cup?
I got my tickets. I'm going down there in February for the DCC. I'll be there for a week, so I'm excited. I got to connect with George and Adrian and the crew, so I get to see them hopefully and do that. But just a quick point in order too about Devon Achen. Shout out to Devon Achen, who he has 1,838 yards from scrimmage, which is second only to Ricky Williams for the Miami Dolphins. So
Shame on Mike McDaniel for not giving him the ball more today with more yak so he can have the ability to reach 2,000. Shame on you, Mike.
Imagine if Ronnie Brown never got hurt in 2007.
Oh, Ronnie Brown.
Oh, dude,
I was watching that. What was it? We were watching. Was it Landman yesterday? And they brought up Wildcat. They kept saying
Wildcat. Wildcatting.
So Tati was saying, like, what does that mean? Like, she goes, I've only heard that once, and it's when you're talking about football, and I still don't know what it means. I go, how dare you? How do you not know? I started to go the Wildcat, but it was funny because she goes, well, I don't even know. I just know that from football from you. So I was starting. I love watching Ricky and Ronnie Brown Wildcat.
I miss those days.
There's
fun.
George of the Fins Faithful podcast. Shout out to George, my man. Usually does a immediate post-game show, but obviously enjoying the day with the fellas. He'll be back next week on the Fins Faithful Pod, or throughout the week. I think he's got a show tomorrow, so check that out. If you guys don't watch George, which you're crazy if you don't, check out the Fins Faithful podcast. I think they are live tomorrow to recap the game and hopefully talk some sense into what's being discussed here tonight. But that's okay. We're 2 hours in. All right, Finstanza, final thoughts before we wrap this one up.
Mike McDaniel probably saved his job today. Champ Kelly's the GM. What else can I say? Who knows what will happen? My next bold prediction, ready for this one? Based on all the stupidity that is happening right now, your quarterbacks next year, competition will be Quinn Ewers and Tua Tagovailoa. That is my bold prediction for this season. We are going to get an announcement.
McDaniel's the coach. Tua's not coming back.
Oh, yeah. At this point, all stupidity is on the table. I am convinced of it because this team literally almost – I think, by the way, people are saying they fought. The way they played that last drive, they didn't look like a team that was concerned about winning that football game. That team went down in 2 seconds. They just said, okay, we won. Okay, no big deal. No big deal. All I can tell, by the way, my final thoughts are be prepared for next week to be a 4:00 game because Denver will be playing at 4:00. So because they're fighting for the division, don't be surprised, Bobby. We'll have to adjust our times, but we'll probably be doing a pre and post right before one, right after, because they're probably going to be playing at 4:00 because of the fight for the number one seed in the AFC.
I was about to say the Broncos or the Patriots already won their division.
No, the conference number one seed.
Yeah. When you said division at first, I was confused.
No, that's the conference. I meant the conference. Number one seed for the bye.
Yeah.
To get the bye.
Brett, final thoughts.
Yeah. He looks like he's coming back. You see, look at Sammy Fish.
Well,
McDaniel's still back.
I don't know if he's coming back or not.
He's back 100 million%.
It feels like he is.
Vomit.
We'll see what happens,
Ick.
but I don't think Tua's back. I think
I don't buy anything you say. You said that they were never going to bench Tua, and they did. So,
By the way, I did say that the Colts wouldn't make the playoffs. And they would lose out.
Okay.
And was I not right about that one?
Okay, but you said
Those are
yeah,
the Browns
you're right about
win.
another team. Yes,
But-
you do well with other teams.
The insanity of this team. The insanity of this football team. What
I
am
think the
thinking?
Dolphins are going to be. I think Ewers definitely will be in contention to talk about for starting next year as far as competition. I don't know whether he will be, whether he will do good or not, but I know that I think if McDaniel's back, they're going to be looking for him to start next year. I do feel like everybody's coming back. McDaniel, Champ Kelly would be the head coach and GM. I feel like there's opportunity to change everything or to start doing things the right way. We'll see what happens. I'm not going to put my faith into it. It is kind of sad knowing that the Patriots and Broncos are vying for the conference the top seed in the conference, and both of those teams drafted their quarterbacks after we got Tua. The Patriots drafted their quarterback after Tua, realized it failed, moved on, drafted the right quarterback, and now got a coach and turned it around and leapfrogged us. And the Broncos got rid of a bad contract quarterback, drafted the right quarterback, turned their team around. And it is kind of depressing as a Dolphins fan to see that we keep hanging on the guys for so long. And I'm just happy to see that the guy who was the cause of all of that is now gone.
That's
and
right.
I'm just hoping that our turn is next because I am so tired of the losing and not winning playoff games.
But
Be
don't
ready
worry, brother.
to lose for the
No
next
matter
5 years.
how many games we win, no matter how many playoff games, Finstanza will find a way. It should have been a 20-point playoff win. We should have 3 Super Bowls. It's like, it's like, damn it.
We'll eventually we're gonna eventually at some point, I feel it in my bones, we're going to have the train back again. And
the bandwagon.
Yeah.
Well,
Never
the bandwagon
again.
will return. You see all these Avengers Doomsday promos where it goes, Steve Rogers will return in Avengers Doomsday. The bandwagon will return. And the FTSN Doomsday. Evan's behind the truck. He's first of all, Greg, before you get your final thoughts, I just want to thank you for backing me up today, man. I really do appreciate it. It felt good that I wasn't alone. When Evan texted me and said, "Hey, Greg and Brett are coming," I was like, "Oh, I know I'm gonna get it tonight, boy. I'm gonna get it from all angles. I just have to be ready to go." And I appreciate you, my man.
Hey,
Thank you. I hope you're back next weekend.
Evan, I try to give it your perspective too to help out there.
Oh,
Evan did not prepare for. He was like, "I got all my guys with me. Here comes the."
I actually am never prepared. I'm always prepared to get raked over the coals. Well, at least I'm consistent.
That's right.
But wait,
Right.
if you guys are all convinced that this is the man that can continue to make us mediocre, that's okay with me. It's okay. I'm used to the mediocrity.
We all said we want him gone.
Can't get any
You're just
worse.
giving you the other perspective.
It can't
Giving
get,
you the other
well, at least it
perspective.
can't get any worse.
No, he can't. That's it. It's only going up from here. But Greg, any final thoughts,
Oh,
sir?
really get worse.
It can't get worse.
First of all, this was a heck of a lot of fun. I think the 4 of us should do this more often.
Yes.
Me too. Me too.
Secondly, look, the task for the Miami Dolphins is very, very lofty and almost monumental.
Mhm. Oh, we lost Greg.
See, Bobby, I froze him. Just when he was about to defend you.
No.
We'll wait for him.
He's coming. He's back.
Oh, come back,
okay.
come back. Monumental. The last word was monumental.
Yeah. It's a monumental task. This isn't a 1-year fix.
No.
This is not 2026 and all of a sudden we're going to compete now. We're looking up at the Patriots and the Bills, and we're going to be looking up for them with their quarterbacks for the next 3 to 5 years. So to do that, you've got to start laying the foundation now. Is Mike McDaniel that foundation? I don't think he is, but it looks like the powers to be maybe say he is. All right, 2026 is going to be bad.
Mm-hmm.
There's no other way around it. Unless they come up with unless Lamar Jackson comes here, unless something really weird happens, we're no better than 3rd next year. But that's okay. Get younger, get more explosive, start making headway in the draft.
Yep.
All right. Don't have your 7th round pick play the same position as your 1st round pick. Outplay them. All right. Let's start hitting first and second round picks, and let's see what happens. But you gotta start digging. Evan said it couldn't get much worse, right? No, you can keep digging. You can make the hole bigger that you're in. Okay, there's nothing that says you have to stop digging, but hopefully we're going to start filling in the hole a little bit because that's what needs to happen.
Real quick on that note, and it's even if you do miss, be willing to move on. Stop hanging on to bad picks and trying to make them work. We've done it for too many positions, too many players. It's not working. Move on. Cut ties. The rookie contracts is perfect for that. Is that working? Get on. Get out. We'll move on.
Exactly.
Admit defeat early.
Yeah, look, you saw the Patriots do it. You saw the Titans do it again. Malik Willis, Will Levis, and now Cam Ward. So it's happened before. It's easy to follow the formula. All right. So for let's see, not this week, Canesware, I believe will be on either tomorrow night to talk, obviously recap the Texas A&M game and look forward to the Ohio State game. So make sure you check out that for the college football playoffs with Canesware and the Miami Hurricanes. Tuesday, Sammy and FTSN TV, I believe, will be. Yeah. I didn't even look at you. FTN TV will be live on Tuesday night, I'm sure, recapping this game and catching up on other stuff. Of course, I believe Finn's Faithful Podcast will be live tomorrow with their channel. So make sure you go check them out, like and subscribe. Shout out to Adrian of the Rainy Day Podcast. Check them out. Evan and I will be back live next weekend with the pregame, postgame show. Also, we got.
I'm happy to do OT if these two schlubs make time for me.
There you go.
They're free.
There you go. Yeah, well, I think you guys are about due, right? You got about a couple months in. You could do another one.
We did one last week. We're ready for another one.
Did you? Oh, my bad. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, we actually, Bobby, unlike you, we watch your shows when you're on. Unfortunately,
I follow up on all my shows. I got like 20, 30 of them, dude. So I check in. I can't, but what am I gonna do? Turn in and listen to the same conversation? I know what you're gonna say. I have your script right here, brother. I got your script right here, brother. Evan, how's the weather today? Well, Bobby, the weather's kind of cool. It's cold outside, but it would be warm if McDaniel was fired. It's like, okay, here we go again, bro. Jeez. Anyway, that's it. That's a wrap. Subscribe if you love the channel because we appreciate you all. Like and subscribe. Dolphin fans, despite how it looks or what it sounds like, the way Evan persuaded, the Dolphins did win today. So like, share, subscribe, but most importantly, as always, fins up. We'll see you guys next time. Peace.